This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL Premiership season.
AFL. On your radio.
On digital. And take us with you on the ABC Listener.
Look for the AFL button.
Down the highway in the Pivot City where Geelong takes on Richmond. The Cats, losers of their past four. The Tigers, an improved performance last week, but only one win on the young season. And an injury list as long as your arm. Great to be with you on ABC Sport. Joel Peterson is my name. Calling alongside me tonight is Lauren Borden. Hello, Loz.
Hello, Joel. Nice to be here on the first day of winter, and it definitely feels like it. So nice to be in the box, and I guess Richmond is the definition of a team that has nothing to lose tonight, so we'll see what they can produce.
Yeah, our resident West Aussie, Rory Campbell's in for a baptism of fire, but not really downstairs. A baptism of ice, perhaps. We'll check in with him shortly. Nathan Burks and Kilda champion and AFLW All-Australian Kes Peterson are our experts this evening. Berkey, Kes, what are we expecting with about 40 seconds before the first bounce?
Hello, Joel, Loz, Kes. I'm expecting Geelong to bounce back and arrest that four-game slide quite easily without Prestia and Shai Bolton came out of the Richmond side, who were competitive last week. Can't see them doing it today. I always back for the underdog, but I can't even bring myself today, Kes.
Berkey, I think I agree with you. It's hard to see Richmond getting up tonight. I think the way that Geelong played last week, there's no way that they wouldn't have got the message loud and clear during the week, and I expect them to bounce back really strongly down here at the Cattery tonight.
More analysis throughout your texts on 0437 774 774 earlier today. Hawthorn winners over Adelaide, and as you've just heard, St Kilda winners over the West Coast Eagles. The Cats looking to get right against the Tigers here for the first time since 2017. Here's Lauren Borden.
Nankervis and Conway in the ruck. Dow bursts through rather for Richmond. Hand passes it away to Nankervis. Sockers it down to Baker. Hand pass to Rioli, who flicks it across to Graham. Back in the side. Long kick down towards the goal square. Richmond goes for the goal here. It's McCarthy Lafau. What a quick response for Richmond. They haven't won since beating Sydney, and Lafau gets the goal within 30 seconds for Richmond. The Tigers with the opening blow, one straight six, playing Geelong, who haven't scored after 30 seconds.
21 seconds in, Berkey. That is not on my bingo card tonight. That was fantastic from Richmond. It was far from clean out of the middle, but they just almost wave in numbers and just kept the ball rolling forward. It was scrappy, but Geelong, unfortunately, were absolutely nowhere to be seen. Very, very poor pressure early on, but 21 seconds in. What a great start for Richmond.
Yeah, and what I like, Daniel Rioli is starting in the defensive 50, which is a fair way from the centre square here. But he just took off. Even though the ball was not really in Richmond's control in that centre bounce, he just went flying past for the handball. So hopefully that's a sign of the Tigers' mindset.
That's an exciting start for them. In the middle, Atkins and Baker collide. Dragged to the turf in the centre of the ground. Curtis De Boyd, Nick Brown, Matt Nichols, Matthew Young, our four umpires this evening here at Kardinia Park. Round 12 in this AFL season continues. Saturday night footy. Terrific to have you with us wherever you're listening. Nankervis and Conway are new acquaintances. Free kick and advantage for the Tigers. Another inside forward 50 entry. Lafau's the target again. Picks this up at his bootlaces 45 metres out. Goes to ground and was held onto while he was there. So the goal kicker for them the first 20 seconds has got this. 52 metres out at left half forward.
Didn't kick a good lot of goals last week, but he was really important with his ground ball pressure. He's not going to be the one that's going to jump up and take a big specky or a pack mark or anything like that, but he brings the ball to ground, he gives his small players the second opportunity to win the football, and he's doing his job.
So first season in Richmond colours. He's the leading goal kicker in the team without Bolton out there tonight. He loads up and goes long, won't quite have the carry, falls to ground in the goal square. And the Cats might be able to get out of trouble. His kick around the body was smothered by McIntosh. And it'll be locked up in that right forward pocket. The Tigers piling on some early pressure. 2.5 minutes in, Richmond with the only score on the board, a goal.
Great signs early from Richmond. Again, just that forward pressure. I think it was McIntosh that got hands to it. Lunging attempt to create a smother and out of bounds.
So ball tossed deep in Richmond's attack. Nankervis palms it down. Will be what looks like a stoppage here. Atkins tackled to the ground. And the ball will stay inside the forward 50 for Richmond. Tigers look like they're starting hot tonight, coming up to Kardinia Park, first time since 2017. Nankervis palms it down, will be kicked out on the full here by Holmes. So free kick going the way of the Tigers.
Dusty's almost sprinted over there to grab it, but the umpire's gone, sorry, Dust, you're about fourth in line. you've got to hand the ball back.
He's been sent to give it to Tyler Sonsie. He'll have to kick from a tough angle, almost on the advertising hoardings. Looks like he's set to go the snap. Puts it on his left boot towards goal. Can bring it through the goals. No. Just a minor score after hitting the post for Tyler Sonsie. So both scores so far going the way of Richmond. 1-1-7 playing Geelong. Yet to score, 4 minutes gone.
Cats in quickly from fullback to Duncan. Kicks outside the defensive 50 to Dempsey. Hands it off to Zach Guthrie. Flicks the handball back out wide to Duncan. Hickey stands side of the ground. Dempsey's kick now up the line through the hands of Bruin. Brought it to ground. Cats everywhere. Myers has got it defensive side of the wing. Pokes his kick over the top. Looking for Holmes. Flostone with him there as well. Cameron's pushed across the boundary line. Gives us a chance to come down to the broadcast side and go downstairs to Rory Campbell. Evening, Rory.
Good evening, everyone. It's pretty good footy conditions down here. There isn't a breath of wind. The flags are lying limp. It is going to get pretty cool this evening. Going to dip well below 10 degrees, which is tough reading for a Suki boundary rider. Not so much the Cats fans who are piled in here with a sellout crowd. Can't see too many spare seats.
Thanks, Rory. It's a little bit different to Perth probably during this Melbourne winter. The ball's tossed back in. Thompson Dow hand passes it away to Nan Curvis. Has a little second to pause, then kicks it further down the Hickey wing. It'll be a contest there that's won out by Stewart of the Cats. He gets the applause from the Cats fans. A little bit of booing for Richmond as well. They were booed as they went through the banner. Hand pass comes to Bruin. Kicks inside 50. Hawkins on the lead. Takes it directly in front of goals.
Isn't that Geelong's DNA? You got really well set up behind the ball. Tom Stewart intercept mark. And takes a risky kick on the inside, but it opened up the ground completely. Tom Hawkins coming leading at the ball. That's the Geelong that the fans in the stands would have expected coming in today. It's the Geelong of old. It's what they've gone away from the last couple of weeks, so good signs for them early that they've got their structure defensively sorted.
So Hawkins on Bolter early. Bolter going back into defence for the Tigers tonight. Kicking from absolutely dead in front. 45 metres out. The kick looks good. It's perfect. Geelong gets its first goal on the board. Trailing by just 1 point, 1 straight 6 against Richmond, 1-1-7. 5.5 minutes gone in the opening quarter here on ABC Sport.
I was thinking about it on the way down, about Geelong losing 4 in a row and what do they need to do as a team to actually get themselves back on track and playing the way that they were. And sometimes it just comes down to players have got to play better. Tom Hawkins just has to play better. Jeremy Cameron, who started like a house on fire, hasn't been playing well. So, Jeremy, you've just got to play better. And all of their good players have just got to play closer to their capability, and then the whole side will lift. So hopefully that's a good sign for Tom Hawkins, who's on that path to actually just playing better football than what he's been showing us.
Strange season for the Cats. Their first 7 wins, they beat one team inside the 8, that was Carlton. Their 4 losses, they've lost to 3 teams inside the 8, but by less than 2 kicks. So they've not been blown out, they've not blown anyone away. It's been an odd season for them so far. Ricochets around in the middle, works up toward half forward. Bolter took it for the Tigers, handed it off. Tackle from Dempsey on Baker was a little bit high. And so the Tiger will have it in line with the back edge of the centre square. Sends it outside to the Hickey stand side. And Curvis is able to latch onto it at the second attempt. Centre wing, pokes his pass up toward half forward and finds Pickett, who's 2 kicks from home. Has a player in space right on the 50. Cumberland had it knocked away by Kolajasny. It's slapped out of play in front of the old visiting race. And that's Southern scoreboard, and it'll be tossed back in. 1-1 to 1-6. Tigers ahead after 7 minutes. Joel Peterson, Lauren Borden, Nathan Burke, Kes Peterson and Rory Campbell with you on ABC Sport.
So Richmond ahead by just 1 point after kicking a goal within 30 seconds to start the match. Nankervis just bashes it away. It's Dempsey that picks it up though for Geelong. Hand passes it away, and the umpire is blowing his whistle. It'll be a free kick going the way of the Tigers. So McCullough with a flat kick inside 50. Beautiful pass towards Pickett, who marks it on his chest. It was a perfect pass, and Pickett held on to the mark. He'll now kick from a tight angle 30 metres out from goal.
They've done well, Richmond. That was a really patient build-up for them that led to that initial boundary throw-in. The kick was just a little bit loopy, but even then again, lowering the eyes, hitting up the leading forward, much better than bombing long.
So to put 2 on the board early for Richmond, Pickett takes his kick, and he's just missed to the near side. Another behind for Richmond, now leading by 2 points, 8 minutes gone in the first quarter at Cardinia Park.
Duncan with the kicking duties this time for the Cats. Decides to go aggressively with a flat kick up the middle, and Pickett picked it off. Got in the way of Holmes, and then he kicked it straight into the outstretched arms of Holmes, who was first back to the footy, got wrapped up immediately. Umpire scoots in and says mine at the top of the 50.
They're lucky they're the Cats because there was 3 or 4 open plays for the Tigers inside 50.
Conway and Ryan, a couple of youngsters in ruck. Conway had the better of the stoppage. Duncan tried to get a handball through. Ends up with short for Richmond. High kick inside the forward 50. Across the pack came to Koning, controlled it down nicely. Handball off to Dempsey to Kolajasny. Run down by Cumberland. Out toward the boundary line. Umpire says toss it in. Left half forward. Still Richmond into attack. 55 from home.
Well, it's half a dozen tackles for the Tigers. Last week they had 4 tackles in the first quarter alone. So they've really ramped up that tackling pressure and they're getting the results from it.
Promising start from the Tigers. Samson Ryan in the ruck for them, but it's Conway, the other young ruck, who pulls it out for Geelong. Kicks it to Stengel, who hand passes it to Bruin. Kicks Geelong to half forward. Will be an intercept mark, though. Sitting back there was Miller for the Tigers. Read it best. And we'll hold on to it inside defensive 50 for the Tigers, leading by 2 points in the first quarter. They're
all defensively this season. Ben Miller got it out to Bolter, who shoots the kick wide to McIntosh. McIntosh assesses what's up the line. 9.5 gone opening term. Tigers by 2 points. Goal to Hawkins for Geelong and Lafau for the Tigers. He was the target of the kick for Richmond. Off hands, taken by Daniel Rioli. Down the line, tumbling kick is marked by Ryan. Might have been a bump ball. Umpire said it was okay. Ryan 70 from home. He chips it to the pocket. Got a couple of options there. Campbell up, can't take it. Pickett stayed down, waiting for it to come out the back. It didn't. It was slapped across the boundary line. And it'll be thrown in. Right forward pocket this time. Richmond attacking the Barwon River end in this opening term. 10 gone. Tigers lead by 2.
Had a hot start, really. He's up to 5 touches already off that half-back line.
So ball comes in. Ryan and Conway getting the ruck. Falls to ground. Mullen goes after it. Might have just got it onto his boot. Still at the top of the 50. It'll be a free kick here. Going the way of the Tigers. So top of the 50, Cumberland can hand pass it to Martin. He'll just go for goal from 50 and he'll slot it too. Martin got his form back last week and he showed he's on again tonight. It's the Tigers with 2 goals to start this first quarter. They've got their way out to an 8-point lead, 2-2-14, 1 straight 6 Geelong. 11 minutes gone, Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Well, Kez, to me it looks like one team turned up thinking, yes, it's just going to happen, and the other team going, let's make something happen. Let's see what happens. And absolutely, the Tigers are up and about. They're tackling extremely well, 7-3 in terms of tackles. You just tell when somebody does something well, like McIntosh laid a smother in the forward pocket early, and 4 players all enthusiastically got over there and gave him a high five and patted him on the back line, and the ball's up in the Richmond forward line and the Richmond defenders are talking to each other, and complete opposite to the Cats. It looked very, very flat.
At the restart, Atkins for the Cats, hands it off to Neal, who does the ruck work, kicks inside the forward 50. Flostone with an outstretched arm brings it to ground. Close is there, camped over the footy. Tigers defence able to pick it up. Goes straight back into the mess. Holly Henry's wrapped up in a tackle. And we'll have a ball up this time inside forward 50 for the Cats. Hawkins and Ryan to contest the ruck here. Ryan reaches over the top of Hawkins, slaps it down to Bolter, just thumps the kick out wide. It's an absolute sack of a thing that lands in the lap of Jack Henry. Right on centre wing under the Hickey stand, as Rory told us earlier, the premiership flags, all 3 of them on that side of the ground, not moving at all, so no breeze. So Connor now to Stewart through the centre of the ground, out wide to Kolajasny, broadcast side.
Kolajasny holds onto the mark. He goes for a quick hand pass to Atkins. Still a couple of kicks away from goal. Kicks affected by a nearing tackle. It'll be picked up by McCall of the Tigers. He goes long down the wing to the AFL logo. Stewart's back there to pick it off for Geelong though. He looks around, he looks to go left, then he goes straight, then he goes right, and then he goes left again and just evades a tackle. Kicks down towards Tui. McIntosh gets a fist in there for Richmond. McCall is running through there, can get the footy. He's tackled to the ground. Tui does the tackling as well. And the ball will be locked up here on centre wing. Rory Campbell's on the boundary. Let's head down to Rory.
Guys, Liam Baker's headed to the rooms with the Richmond physio. It didn't look to be moving too badly, so hopefully just a check-up on something, but I'll keep you posted.
Thanks, Rory. First game, the Caleb Smith, the West Aussie, the sub for Richmond tonight. Gary Rowan back into the Geelong team as the proverbial vest on. Ryan with the free kick, kicks out wide, and Mansell collects Kolajasny a little bit late. Cats fans and a couple of players aren't too happy about that.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Got to make him earn it.
Ryan Mansell earned a contract extension during the week, signed to the end of 2026 in Richmond colours. Doc's out there just making sure that Jake Kolajasny's okay. He's got a bit of claret, so he's going to be forced from the field. And you can hear what the locals think of that.
I wonder where that came from, because the Mansell's arm looked like it made contact with his sort of shoulder.
Yeah,
I
think it was on the like the follow through. So as his body's past him, he's just collected him. Nothing untoward in it whatsoever.
Screamer of a goal last week, Jake Kolajasny. From the restart, Duncan immediately spreads the ground. The Cats will go inside forward 50. Cameron floating back with the flight, couldn't take it. Hawkins does the roving, hands off to Atkins, 40 out from the Geelong goal. Bowes to home, slips the tackle, kick was smothered. Miller's defence was good. Tui came up, he was grabbed by Miller, somehow got rid of it. Richmond swarming around the footy, but the Cats still in possession. Holmes is now tackled by 3 Tigers. They are everywhere in the early stages, Richmond. They've come to play tonight. They lead by 8 with 14 and a half gone in the opening term. Ball up, half forward, Geelong.
He's outstanding.
Loving that.
Outstanding. They just lost 30 metres of ground, Geelong, just because of Richmond's pressure. That was outstanding.
It's Duncan from the ball up, though. Puts it deep into Geelong's forward 50. It'll be a Richmond mark. Not paid. It will be. So Bolter will be paid the mark. Another defensive mark for the Tigers. Stop that ball from going any further in Geelong's attack. So Richmond defence on so far in this opening quarter at Cardinia Park. Long kick out to a pack. It's Nankervis sitting at the back. Nudges his opponent out of the way and takes the mark. He'll go long down the broadcast wing. Martin all by himself until Henry comes in to effect the kick. Cameron picks it up. Hand passes it back to DeConey. He quickly kicks it down to Tui, who moves it forward towards Close. Quick handball away from Close to Bruin.
He kicks inside forward 50. Neal now to Stengel. 45 out from the Cats goal. Again, they give up some territory. Atkins, a central kick looking for Holmes, and Ralph Smith gets in the way. Long locks of Hugo Ralph Smith. Takes the mark, 30 out from his defensive goal for Richmond. Tigers by 8, 15 and a half gone opening term on ABC Sports. Spots up and unmarked McKelty Lafau on the wing and drops the kick in the bucket for him. Lafau kicked the first within 20 seconds of the start. He finds Graham out of the boundary line. And this Geelong defence that was disorganised at times last week looks so early again. Graham kicks inside the forward 50. Jack Henry goes up, can't take the mark. Where are the Crummers? Pickett, toe poke to Martin. He's got 2 Cats attached to him. Cameron's back there helping defensively for Geelong. Jack Graham's alongside the boundary line. Ball's wrapped up, 52 metres out from the Richmond goal.
Richmond leading by 8 points. Geelong having come into this match, having lost 4 in a row. They haven't lost 5 since 2001. The ball up is very close to the boundary line. Stays in play. There'll be a tackle here on Nankervis, and the umpire will come in, cross his arms and ball it up right on the paint of the 50. Just a metre in from the boundary line. Umpire tosses it up. Nankervis palms it away, and of course it just bounces a few times before heading over to the boundary line where Rory Campbell is.
Yeah, guys, Jake Kolajasny had a lot of blood coming out of his nose. He's been in the hands of the doctors. It looks like they've managed to stifle the flow of that, and he looks like he'll be able to continue. We've just seen Liam Baker return to the bench from the rooms. Looks to be moving all right. Not sure what the issue was. He's sort of clutching at his hammy a little bit.
Hopefully he's okay. Such an important part of this Richmond team. They're at half forward here are the Tigers. At the stoppage, Short whips his left foot kick inside the forward 50. Jack Henry with an assured mark, reading it beautifully in flight and going back with courage. Takes to the top of the defensive goal square. Outlet kick to Bruin. Now toward Cameron. Reaching over the top was Tom Brown. Did well. Brought it to ground. McIntosh there for the Tigers. Ripped down in the tackle by Tui. Umpire says holding the ball. McIntosh not letting Tui get back to his feet. Now Tui wants to immediately move it on. Just defensive side of the wing. Long kick up toward half forward. Neal in a 2-on-1 that didn't favour him. And that was an easy uncontested mark for Nankervis in the end of Richmond.
Nankervis, right half back, long kick down the wing. DeConey's got front position. Guthrie was there as well. It's Graham, though, who can pick it up for the Tigers. To Baker. Kicks it down towards Pickett, who can run down here if he can pick it up cleanly. Finally picks up at the top of the 50. Nearly is tackled, but goes towards Lafau, who takes the mark. Left forward pocket. and will be paid the mark.
Just the structure of Cats around the ball, whenever it hits the ground, it's generally the Tigers getting there first, but they seem to have the players on the outside that you can actually handball the ball to as well. And Pickett just sucked himself out of the back of the pack all by himself. No Geelong player went with him, and really well spotted up kick with Lafau. Chance here to kick his second.
So Lafau for his second eases it through the goals. The cheer squad at the back of the players' stand is happy with that one. The Richmond fans who have made the trek up the highway. And Lafau's got a couple. That key target now in the forward line without Bolton. It's Richmond with a 14-point lead. 3-2-20. Geelong 1 straight 6. Nearly 20 minutes played in the first quarter of round 12 at Cardinia Park.
Yeah, it was really clever play by Pickett. He looked to kick it inboard, 2 or 3 times, but instead he held on to the ball because he had more time than perhaps what he initially thought, and he was able to effect a kick that just put his teammate to advantage, and that was a terrific, really well executed, composed play by Richmond. Take nothing away from them, but 2 words that you don't associate with Geelong: disorganised and indecisive when they've got ball in hand. They're making really poor errors, and partly due to Richmond's pressure that they're putting on, but partly due to just looking completely at sea both defensively and in attack at the moment.
They've only got 5 forwards on the ground as well. They're playing AFLW. They've got too many players. Nope, there we go. Tom Stewart comes up to the wing and push another one up the forward line.
They got there eventually.
That's it.
Warning against Geelong, of course, for that infringement.
As we always do, we tell the ruckman because they're going to do something about it, Berkey.
Well, they'll forget in 3 seconds.
Ball will be tossed up in the centre of the ground. Here's Peterson and Nathan Burke. You can direct your text to them on 0437774774 if you're a ruck out there listening. You feel aggrieved by those comments. Richmond with the clearance. It's marked by Zach Guthrie at the top of the defensive 50.
Any rucks out there probably can't use the phone anyway.
Zach Guthrie goes out wide.
That's to Nathan Burke only. I want no part of that.
Connor. Bruin, infield kick, found Conway on his knees. Handball back to Bruin. They generate some run, and Bruin's absolutely shanked it off the instep. Straight to McCall, turnover. Brown for Richmond, or DeConing crashed into Campbell.
I like this young fellow. He's just very balanced and poised with the football, and he does a lot of things right.
Got a bit about in the Tasmanian. Chips out wide to Pickett. He's 65 from home. Marlon Pickett at right half forward. Kicks to the pocket. Cumberland's there. Ryan's there. It's built to Sonsi. Outside of the boot. Hits the outside of the post. Minor score, but Richmond are all over Geelong. 3-3 to 1 straight. 21 gone in the opening term. This is a Richmond team that's won 1 game and he's second last on the ladder.
So Tom Stewart moves the ball out of defensive 50 as far as he can. Outer side on the ground. Players scrapping for the footy. Miller comes in there for the Tigers, tackled by Myers. He does the fake hand pass to ensure it's not holding the ball. Umpire comes to bounce it up, edge of the centre square. Nankervis, nice tap out to Martin. Has to hand pass under some pressure. Holmes picks it off. And then he's tackled by nearly 4 Richmond players. It's just yellow and black around the footy. Graham wins it. Hand passes it towards Rioli. Might have been held. Gets the footy back anyway. Hand passes it to Baker, who flicks it just off to Martin. Can shove it on his boot and get it down further into the forward 50. Again, desperation from the Richmond players to keep it inside there. It's finally cleared by Atkins. Not quite. Pickett can pick it off. Hand pass to Rioli, who's clever to tap it over his head. Dow's in there as well. He puts a hand pass over the top of Graham. Just sockers it off the goal square. What a great kick.
He paid
Mark was dropped by Baker, but the umpires paid it.
Generous.
A great passage of play. But Baker did spill the mark, but the umpire has rewarded the passage of play almost in the end. Brought into the theatre of it all.
Again, Adam Uzo will be loving this. He'll be telling his video people, just capture that, and if there's some way that we can show that at quarter time or half time to the players and say this is going to win us the game, this sort of pressure.
So Baker from directly in front. And the Tigers are here to make a mark on tonight's match. It's a 21-point lead. We've only gone 22 minutes in the first quarter, so still plenty to play out. 4-3-27, Geelong just 1 straight 6. Your experts, Karen Peterson, Nathan Burke on ABC Sport.
Well, I can guarantee that's not the way that they drew it up, Richmond. A hack kick off the ground from 45 out that lands 20 metres out directly in front. Baker spills it but gets paid it anyway. Things are just happening for Richmond at the moment, but it's on the back of their pressure, and some stats just to back up the dominance that they've got. It's 12-6 inside 50. and 17-7 tackles on top of 11-4 in the clearances. They're completely dominating almost every aspect of the game in this first quarter.
Considering that probably their best 4 midfielders aren't playing this game, 11-4 clearances is outstanding.
Here they go again.
And an indictment on Geelong at this stage as well. Bruin, who's been really the only one who can win a clearance for the Cats in recent weeks, does the tackling there on Baker. Locks things up in the centre of the ground. All Richmond here at Kardinia Park. Cats have lost 4 in a row. They've lost 2 in a row here, which they haven't done in many years. And they are looking in trouble early in this game. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Graham's there. He's wrapped up by a couple of Cats. Let's go downstairs to Rory Campbell.
Adam Uze calling the shots from the bench this evening for the Tigers. Very happy with McKelty Lafau when he came off a short time ago.
Thanks, Rory. From the restart, stuck in the middle of the ground, not holding the ball, Becky. It'll be a ball up. Again, good tackling from the Tigers as Bruin gets up from the bottom of the pack. Umpire balls it up right in front of our broadcast position. Atkins goes in there and he's tackled by 3 Tigers again. So the worst tackling side in the competition, the Tigers. And tonight they've turned up with their tackles and have got plenty of intent.
They've had 18-10, but I reckon there's been at least 9 of those where there's been multiple Richmond players tackling the Geelong player.
So tap out comes away from Conway. Brown takes the footy, high tackle, and it's Dow rather who gets the free kick. So Dow will have it right half back for the Tigers, leading by 21 points late in the first quarter.
Just defensive side of the interchange is Thompson down the broadcast side of the ground. Kicks up toward Ryan in the pack for the Cats. Bashes it on. Jack Henry's there for Geelong. It's kept in by Mansell, and Stewart was pretty keen to see it over. Very keen. That'll be paid as insufficient intent. I don't think Ryan Mansell can claim a 50 if the Cats fans don't throw him the ball back on the full. Maybe if the players do.
Pickett will end up with this if he turns around. No, doesn't want it.
Mansell 65 out. Centering kick to a dangerous spot. Ryan in over the back. Can't take it. Dempsey's there. Might have had his back ridden into. Umpire said it was okay. And we'll have a ball up 20 metres out from the Richmond goal, doing all the attacking. They lead by 21, 25 and a half played opening term.
Chance for a late goal for the Tigers. Nankervis tries to pull it out, battling with Conway. It'll be cleared, though, by Guthrie. Clearing kick. Brown nearly takes the mark, though, for the Tigers. Tap towards Hawkins. He just taps it, then Bolter taps it straight into the path of Holmes, though, for the Tigers. For Geelong, rather. Hand pass to Bruin. He's under pressure here. Has to hand pass backwards to Kolajasny. Flicks it across to Holmes. Geelong might be able to get out of some trouble here. It's a flat kick from Holmes. And he finds Mullen. Kicks down towards Henry, who goes to Duncan. And he'll just go for goal here. Duncan, he tries to skid it towards goals, but it bounces through for a minor score. So the first behind of Geelong for the night. It brings them to 1-1, but they trail Richmond 4-3. 26 minutes gone in the first quarter.
Should have crafted something better there. It was 4 Geelong players to 2 Richmond players inside their forward 50 and just couldn't create anything better than Duncan having a shot from 45 metres out. Short to Miller at the kick-in. Miller goes long down the line. Conway over the top of the pack, reaches down. Holmes away to Bowes, kicks up toward half forward. Stengel came in at pace, ricocheted away to Cameron. Handball too hot for Hawkins, left forward pocket. What can he do with it, the veteran? He's run down, chased in the tackle by Daniel Rioli, flips it up toward Neal, still in that left forward pocket. Stengel appeals for a free kick. So do the Cats fans. They won't get it. Clearing kick from Richmond's defence, marked well by O'Connor. Right at the junction of the 50 and the boundary line. At left half forward. Mark O'Connor's pulled it in. He's going to tee it up to the hot spot. Dempsey will get a run at it. So will Henry. Neither can mark. Ollie Henry brought it down only as far as Miller. Around the body, scrambles a kick to Mansell.
And Richmond are on here trying to move it through Sonsi, who picked off Martin, but that was picked off by Guthrie. It was a poor kick. Bruin now has it for Geelong. Takes a few steps inside 50. Goes for home himself and he's missed. They tried to get it after the intercept, but another minor score for Geelong. Now trailing by 19 points late in the first quarter, Kardinia Park.
So the Cats missing a couple of chances late to peg this margin back. Terrific mark from De Koning. Long kick out of defence from Richmond's pulled in. He immediately wants to move it on. Kicks to the tall timber of the Tigers. Bolter played in front of Hawkins. Brought it down to Stengel inside 50 for Geelong. Hawkins to Myers. Left forward pocket off the instep across the face. Dempsey almost claimed it. Bounced off his chest and into the post. No, it was out of bounds on the full. And so Ralph Smith from the last line, nervous kick, found Broad, handball back to Ralph Smith, caught in the phone box, back to Broad inside the defensive 50 for the Tigers, kicks to a 2-on-1. Campbell worked his opponent under it, did well, got rid of Mullen, then dragged it back to a 50-50. And it'll be a ball up between the wing and right half forward. Hickey stand side, Geelong into attack, but they trail by 19 points closing on quarter time.
So outer side of the ground. Picked up by Dow, tries to hand pass it away, calls for holding the ball. It'll be Geelong going to merge with the footy anyway. Via Myers, scrappy kick forward. He misses Hawkins with the kick. It'll allow Richmond to mop up here via Bolter, who kicks out to Mansell. He's got a running Martin, takes the mark, might slow himself down here. He continues to run. He points to Lafau, says where he wants it. Lafau can only get it on the half volley. He's forced to hand pass back, but Martin kept running to give him some support. A hand pass goes out to Mansell. He pulls the kick out. It won't be a Richmond mark because Holmes is tracking it back and holds on to the footy for Richmond in the right back pocket. And just eases it forward to Mullen, who can take the mark. Richmond leading by 19 points.
Gee, they had some options even then, the Tigers, and now the exit from the Cats is messy. It's off hands, out of play. It'll be thrown in out at left half forward.
Yeah, they had options because, again, just Richmond outworking the Geelong defenders. It was the midfielders of Richmond that got forward. Dustin and must have been Lafau were playing around with the footy, and it was still the Richmond forwards that got forward. Gosh, I'm confusing myself. I'll let you guys go.
Thrown back in. Ben Rutten standing over there in the visitors' race watching on. Myers takes it at the stoppage, kicks up the line, finds Neal. AFL logo out of sight. Cats need to go before quarter time. Neal, a driving kick to the edge of the 50, finds Ollie Henry. He's got O'Connor going back toward goal. Kick goes in that direction. Coming in is Duncan as well. Duncan! Marks 30 out directly in front, and this is a must kick.
Yeah, we're inside the last minute here. It's probably going to be the last score for the quarter. So
that's a train, not the siren, by the way.
It needs to push its own. Work really hard. It's probably one of the few times that the kick inside 50 has been well directed in terms of a Geelong score.
So to break the run of 3 consecutive Richmond goals and claw this margin back before quarter time, so reliable, Mitch Duncan. He's done it so many times. And he brings the game back to a 13-point spread. 2-2-14 the Cats. The Tigers 4-3-27. 30 minutes played, opening term on ABC Sport. Your experts are Nathan Burke and Kez Peterson.
Burke, I reckon that goal was always about to happen in that last couple of minutes. Geelong just had the most of the play. And that entry inside forward 50, you called it well. It was probably the first, they've had, what are they up to? 12 inside 50s. No, 14 to 13. So they've pegged that back to almost even. But it was probably the best inside forward 50 entry that they've had in the last 15 minutes of that quarter. It was just put to the advantage of Duncan, and he did really well just to outpoint his defender, but certainly the kick was to advantage, and his kick truly a very much needed steadier for the Cats.
So a late goal from Duncan, very close to the siren to mark quarter time. Umpire bounces in the middle. Nankervis will try and get the tap out against Conway, who just soccers it forward. And the siren will sound to mark quarter time at Cardinia Park. Richmond came here to play. They've surprised everyone by their performance so far, including Geelong. The late goal from Duncan, though, brought the margin back to 13 points to the advantage of Richmond. It's the Tigers 4-3-27, leading Geelong at 2-2-14. Goal kickers tonight for the home side, Mitch Duncan with one and Tom Hawkins with another. While for the Tigers, it's McKelty Lafau with a couple, including the first one in the first 30 seconds of the match, as well as Liam Baker and Dustin Martin, each with one each.
So quarter time here at Cardinia Park. The Cats fans would have been driving to this game tonight, having lost 4 in a row, thinking surely not. This team that is in 17th has won 1 game for the season, coming down the highway to a venue they haven't played at in 7 years. Surely they can't roll us tonight. They got the fright of their lives early with the Tigers jumping out by as many as 21 points early in that term. And now we close with a 13-point spread. Earlier today, Hawthorn by 27 points in Jack Gunston's milestone match. Dylan Moore kicking 5, Gunston with 3 goals, 1 of his own as the Hawks won by 27. And in the West, St Kilda by 14 points over the West Coast Eagles. The big story out of that game was Harley Reid with the tackle on Darcy Wilson, his draft mate from Vic Country last season, who looks like he might be facing some time on the sidelines and would be ineligible for the Rising Star if that is the case. So the MRO in the early part of the week, maybe even tomorrow afternoon, will be very, very interesting viewing for not only Eagles fans but fans around the competition as far as Harley Reid goes. Quarter time here at Kardinia Park. Saturday night footy. It is Geelong 2-2-14 to Richmond 4-3-27 on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital. It's Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Hey Google, play the footy on the ABC.
Did you know you can now listen to the footy on your smart speaker?
Oh, that is amazing!
Play ABC AFL.
Time to steady and pull the trigger!
Get the best call, the biggest experts in the game, every round of the AFL season.
Can he bend it back? You bet he can!
On your favourite station, ABC Radio. Your home for footy. Now on your smart speaker. This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Pass to Rioli, who flicks it across to Graham, back in the side. Long kick down towards the goal square. Richmond goes for the goal here. It's McCarthy Lafau. What a quick response for Richmond. They haven't won since beating Sydney in Lafau. Gets the goal within 30 seconds for Richmond. Hand pass comes to Bruin, kicks inside 50. Hawkins on the lead, takes it directly in front of goal. Kicking from absolutely dead in front. 45 metres out. The kick looks good. It's perfect. Geelong gets its first goal on the board. Top of the 50, Cumberland can hand pass it to Martin. He'll just go for goal from 50 and he'll slot it too. Martin got his form back last week and he showed he's on again tonight. Dow's in there as well. He puts a hand pass over the top of Graham. Just is it goal square? What a great kick. Mark was dropped by Baker, but the umpires paid it. So Baker from directly in front. And the Tigers are here to make a mark on tonight's match.
Neil, a driving kick to the edge of the 50, finds Ollie Henry. He's got O'Connor going back toward goal. Kick goes in that direction. Coming in is Duncan as well. Duncan! So to break the run of 3 consecutive Richmond goals and claw this margin back before quarter time. So reliable, Mitch Duncan. He's done it so many times.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio
ABC Sport Digital.
and on the ABC Listen app.
Cats down by 13 points at quarter time here at Kardinia Park. Richmond 4-3-27 to Geelong 2-2-14. Joel Peterson, Lauren Borden calling the action for you. Great to have you with us on ABC Sport. 0437 774 774 with your contributions throughout the evening. Rory Campbell is on the boundary and your experts with their thoughts on that opening term. St Kilda champion Nathan Burke and Carlton AFLW captain Kes Peterson.
I'd almost say, Berkey, that's probably Richmond's best quarter of the season, maybe since they beat the Swans, which was quite a while ago now, but they were absolutely outstanding in that first quarter. It was on the back of the pressure that they were able to effect on the Geelong players all across the ground. It wasn't just done in the forward half, it was done in the back half. Their desperation was absolutely outstanding. The challenge for them is going to be, can they maintain that rage going forward? Because their ball movement wasn't particularly clean. It was just done through effort and pushing the ball forward, which is a challenge to be able to maintain for 4 quarters, but an outstanding start for the Richmond players. For the Geelong players, what is going on? There's something's not clicking for them that used to be what their DNA was. They're going inside forward 50. There was only that last passage of play that led to the Duncan goal that looked anything that resembled composed forward 50 entry. So they need to fix something. Geelong, at the moment, they're ranked last in the competition for scores conceded from an opposition inside forward 50. They, at the moment, from an opposition inside forward 50, they're being scored against at 50%, which is last in the competition, and they're on track again for that tonight. Richmond have had 7 scoring shots from their forward 50, inside 50. So the question is that happening because of what's going on up the ground, or is it because their defence is all at sea? And I'd say at the moment it's probably a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
We've got something that makes a really interesting sporting contest, and that is you've got one team who's got nothing to lose, and the other team who has a lot to lose. So for the Cats to win 7 and then lose 5 in 3 games at home, that's a lot to lose. And for the Tigers, well, they've won game so far, they've won up to this point of the season. They've got nothing to lose. They've got a lot of key players out of the team. They're just having a crack. And that's what we're seeing at the moment. Geelong, to me, look a little bit tentative. They're not moving the ball with a lot of fluency up and down the ground. And the Tigers, they're just throwing everything they can and everything they can at the Geelong players. So Normally that sort of mindset doesn't last a whole game. So that's Richmond's test today. They have to bring that nothing to lose for the whole game. And can the Cats shake themselves out of, boy, we've got a lot to lose if we lose this one.
And the Cats just not conceding. 20 seconds. We're underway in this second term. This time it's Holmes who had a play at the clearance. Graham dragged it back in for Richmond. And Curvis kept it moving. Baker's there, now back edge of the centre square. As the Tigers concede some territory, kick goes out wide, looking for Campbell, bounces past him and over the boundary. It'll be tossed back into play. They kicked 3 in a row in that opening term. Did the Tigers. It'll be thrown back in right in front of Rory Campbell, who's downstairs.
During that first quarter, Ollie Henry came off and had the physios paying some attention to his left hamstring. During that quarter time break, he was getting some serious attention paid to it. He's still out there, certainly some awareness though.
Here's Myers from the stoppage for the Cats. Drives his kick up toward half forward. Bolter back there to intercept. 5 intercept marks last week for Richmond. Having been thrown into defence after starting the season forward. Kick out wide. And Curvis has been clipped by O'Connor there, which was a little bit awkward. He's taken the mark, defensive side of the wing.
Bolter started the game really well. He's up to 7 possessions and 4 contested possessions.
And then Curtis kicks down in the Lafau direction. It's Conway, though, who picks it up, hand passes it away. It'll be a gathering of players that converge around the footy, and the umpire will come in and throw the ball up in the centre square of the ground.
The Tigers started the year with Bolter playing up forward and experimented with that, but he's far better behind the ball, in my opinion.
So Atkins pulls out the footy, tries to get a hand pass away, stolen by Graham, can hand pass to Baker, and Richmond can go forward here. Lafau couldn't take the mark, he'll chase after it though, he's tackled by Guthrie, no holding the ball called. Cumberland puts the footy on his boot, and he's bounced it through.
Over his head.
It's squeezed through past Kolajasny, who was on the line, ready to stop that ball from going through. And it's just squeezed through between him and the goalpost. So another early goal to Richmond. A little bit of luck involved in that one. 5-3-33 now the Tigers. 2-2-14 Geelong. It's a 19-point lead. It's back out to after 2 minutes in the first quarter.
Isn't it, Kez? It's the nightmare of a play. You're standing on the line. The ball is rolling towards you. You just hope that it's not that 1 in 50 bounce that just goes over your head, and that's what Kolajasny got. The ball just bounced over his head, gave him no chance to touch it. You could just stand there and watch it sail over his head. But great forward pressure there by the Tigers again. It wasn't pretty, but they just got numbers. They kept the ball alive. Lafau was involved again, and well done.
It's probably bounced at waist height, and then for reference, it's bounced over the padding on the post. So probably a good 3 metres with that freak bounce, and it's gone through for Richmond. They get another clearance here out toward Ralph Smith and Campbell at left half forward. Bruin dives after it. Atkins is there. He's dragged down by Campbell. Couple of tough nuts going at it. And we'll have a ball up left half forward.
Campbell, McAuliffe and Dow are 3 young players the Tigers fans should be really impressed with.
And Curvis reaches out. He goes to ground, so does Atkins. Ball goes over the boundary line. And it will be tossed back in. On the text line, Bill says Cats very lethargic. Big Hawk looks like he's running around in mud this year, says Simon in Port Adelaide. And Rich from Ocean Grove saying, I love Tom Stewart as much as the next Cats fan, but is he maybe a better player and leader when he isn't the acting captain?
And Martin tried to run away with the footy here. Affected Bruin though in doing so, and it'll be a free kick going the way of Geelong. But right half back.
Jeremy Cameron just the 2 handballs in that first quarter, and one of them was ineffective.
So kick to Holmes, who can take a bounce very close to the boundary line. He'll take 2 and 3 as he runs past the benches, then just puts Geelong inside 50. Ball goes high. Ollie Henry flew, couldn't take the mark. Myers was there, picked up though by Vlosten of the Tigers. And it'll be Broad who kicks the Tigers out of defence. Stewart just comes in all the way up to half forward for Geelong with an intercept mark. Dinky kick inside 50. Again, he went for Ollie Henry. Couldn't take the mark. O'Connor's there. He'll be tackled to the ground by Miller. And the ball will be wrapped up inside attacking 50 for the Cats. They're trailing by 19 points, 4.5 minutes played in the second term.
45 out from the Richmond goal. Conway wins it down. From the Cats goal, I should say. Free kick inside the defensive 50 for the Tigers here. It'll be Jaden Short who got horse-collared by Mark O'Connor. Short to Nankervis. Short provides some overlap run. Not having a great statistical season, Jaden Short, but he's been busy so far this season. His 6th disposal is a good one to find McIntosh out at right half back. And again, it all just slows down in front of Camden McIntosh. So he chips a 9-iron down the line. In front was Kolajasny, couldn't take it. McAuliffe's there for the Tigers. Kolajasny goes back through the pack. Martin rips it away from him. Henry brings him down. Dusty get the kick away over his head in the end. Straight to Tom Stewart, who marks defensive side of the wing and goes back to Zach Guthrie at the top of the back 50.
So Guthrie will run on before kicking straight down the ground. Myers sticks a hand out, can't mark Stengel at the drop, can hand pass towards Cameron. Kicks down towards Ollie Henry again, he can't take the mark. There's Miller there, who punched the ball over the boundary line for a throw-in 20 metres around from Geelong's goal.
Well defended there again by Richmond, but it's the first time we've seen Jeremy Cameron up the ground in this quarter. He's been parked himself at full forward for the first, what are we up to, 5.5 minutes, but he's just got up the ground and got involved. Maybe that's the instruction come from the coach's bench.
So Hawkins with the tap out towards Dempsey, shoves it on his boot. Hawkins marks, it wasn't 15. He shrugs off any tackle, can put it on the boot, but it'll be out of bounds on the full. So no score from Hawkins. The margin stays the same, 19 points, Richmond's advantage.
Short to bring it back in from fullback for the Tigers. Drops it on that thumping right boot. Lafau will go up in the pack. It cleared them all in the end, and Curvis was waiting for it at the back. And Sonsi had it all open up for him. Dustin Martin kicked it into his back. Taken by Conway for the Cats. The big fella lopes away, kicks inside to 50. Ollie Henry comes over the top, and Ben Miller is playing volleyball out there. He just spikes another one over the boundary line, and it'll be tossed back in right forward pocket for Geelong. He's having fun at the moment, Ben Miller. He's like a toddler with a balloon, just whacking the thing as hard as he can. All will be chucked back into play. Nankervis. Hawkins goes to ground. Conway's there. Didn't do the ruck work, did the roving instead. Outside the defensive 50 now, the Tigers. Sonsi with the lightning hands to Ralph Smith. Away to Cumberland, back to Ralph Smith. Outside of the boot, kicks into space. Mansell leads the race there. Doesn't bounce kindly for he or Kolajasny. He brings Kolajasny down, wraps him up. Umpire says ball up. Good jaw between the two of them. It was desperate stuff in attack for the Tigers.
Yeah, well defended by Kolajasny and great forward pressure by the Tigers.
So they've got the distance, Tigers. Now they need the finish. Cumberland tries to do it single-handedly. His kick is smothered. He goes back again, runs into some traffic. Seth Campbell has a go. Kicks off the side of his boot. He's found the mark, though. Tyler Sonsi's taken the mark. And straight in front of goals, Richmond will have another set shot.
He protected the ball drop really well. Then up against Sam De Koning, who's one of the best contested grabs that Geelong's got in that back 50. He just protected the ball drop and turned his body so that he protected it. Really fantastic mark. He's got to go back and slot this one. It's been a bit scrappy this second term. Needs to compose himself and go back and slot this.
So there are a few Tigers that had a snap, weren't able to get the goal. It's now on Sonsi's shoulders from directly in front. Starts off right and stays right. So Richmond's lead now 20 points. 8 minutes gone in the first quarter. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport at Cardinia Park.
At some stage Geelong's going to make a run here, and you just hope that goals like that from 30 out and directly in front aren't going to come back to bite Richmond. They really need to make the most of every opportunity they get.
Stewart drives it in for the Cats. Long to the wing. Dempsey's being paid the mark in the end, even though he played on.
And he didn't think he marked it. He was third in line, but
Matt Nichols thought he marked it, and that was really all that mattered. Boston's not too keen to give the ball back. So Tom Hawkins has to go and fetch it from the bench. Ollie Dempsey, who's having a good season, a young cat. One of the Beach Boys down back for Geelong with the flowing blonde locks and the bright pink boots. Plays on inside of Campbell. Kicks to the edge of the 50 for the Cats, and reading it best was Ryan. He led them all to the footy. Neal didn't go with him, and he took an uncontested mark on his chest in the end. Did Samson Ryan. He's at left half back, 60 out from his defensive goal. Some light rain starting to fall as well here at Cardinia Park. It's been a cold day with southerly winds here in Victoria. Here's Duncan, dragged down as he kicked in the centre of the ground. Tigers in possession. Rioli kicks an inverse barrel, spinning top of a thing up toward half forward, and Jack Henry read it nicely, takes the intercept mark, shoots it short to Stewart. Tigers by 20, 10 gone second term.
Stewart goes a little longer out wide towards Dempsey, who marks just inside the boundary line. In front of the physios at Geelong.
Cats have very, very rarely been able to use the centre corridor so far in this game. Tigers doing a great job of clogging that up.
They take it down the broadcast wing. Boston was there to affect the pass. Holmes picks it up for the Cats, though. He can shrug off a tackle and go inside 50 for Geelong. It'll go through to his hands. Stengel's there at the drop, shoves it on his boot, doesn't come off it well. McIntosh is there at the back. He tries to curve the ball in. It was a good kick too towards Daniel Rioli, who holds the footy for Richmond deep in defence.
Stengel almost had a fresh area on that shot for goal from 15 metres out.
Rioli chips short, too short. He kicks long. Down the line, Neal goes up, can't take it. Floston, handball over the top. Campbell coming in, Mullen the other way. Got the kick away, Mullen, just dropped onto his boot in the tackle, and now Baker's keen to walk it across the boundary line. And it'll be tossed back into play in front of the interchange gates. Joel Peterson, Lauren Borden with you on ABC Sport. Nathan Burke, Kes Peterson, your experts, and Rory Campbell down on the boundary. A testing first day of winter for boundary riders, it is fair to say. And the big fella he's sitting next to, the NBL champion Pete Hooley, would be really struggling down there as well, I'd imagine. Kane McAuliffe along the boundary line for the Tigers, handed it up to Neal, whose kick went along the boundary line and then over and out of bounds on the full right of reply, Rory Campbell.
The rain started to fall down here, guys. It's not super heavy at this stage, but probably enough to have a bit of an impact on the game. The breeze has also picked up. It's blowing towards the Selwood stand end, which is the end Richmond are kicking to. So probably good news for them, given that they're lead at this stage.
Thanks, Rory, as Baker sends it down towards that end. Lafau can get a hand to it towards Graham. Spills out the back here. O'Connor can kick it right into the middle of the ground. It'll be tracked, though, by Broad. He couldn't take it. Bruin goes after it to do the tackling. Gloston's there as well, and it's Baker on the bottom of the turf who's helped up by Gloston. Looked a little sore as he came up, but looks all right now as the umpire gets set to ball it up. Centre wing. Tap comes out towards Myers. He can hand pass it away. It's Gloston that picks it up, shoves it on his boot, 60-metre kick. Stewart just sits back there and takes the mark. There was no one else that was ever going to mark that, so Stewart can chip slightly out wide towards Duncan. He'll go long down the outer side of the ground. Myers tries to pick it up. Again, he's surrounded by 3 Richmond players. That's what they've been doing all night. Tui, hand passes to Close. Close tries to hit his boot. He misses. Bruin goes after it. Sockers it a little forward. Then there's Stengel. He'll curve the ball inwards towards Cameron. Can't take the mark. Boston was there. They'll have another go here. Geelong through Bowes, but he's tackled. We'll have a ball up 30 metres out from Geelong's goal. They're trailing by 20 points as the rain is starting to really come down at Virginia Park.
Nick Floston only just got there as well. Inside forward 50 for the Cats. Atkins puts his head down, farms it up to Dempsey, to Bruin. Left foot snap around the body's a beauty. Tanner Bruin with goals in back-to-back weeks. And he pulls the margin back to 14 points again for the Cats. First score for Geelong of this second term's a major. 3-2-20. Richmond 5-4-34. 13 gone, second term on ABC Sport. Your experts are Kes Peterson and Nathan Burke.
You got the sense that Geelong was just going to kick something out of nothing because they haven't been able to craft anything that's been really clean and hit a forward. And it took just a scramble play out of a stoppage, and most of the Richmond players had set up goal side, which is, okay, we're going to try and stop the Cats coming through the front of that stoppage and kicking a goal. And Bruin just was really smart, just sat on the opposite side of the pack all by himself, and lovely left foot snap in the end.
So a goal apiece to start the second term, or during the second term, as Atkins pulls it out, kicks it, and Rioli marks. Back edge of the centre square. He just waits for his teammates to get ahead of him. So he'll kick out wide to the Hickey wing and find Graham. So Tigers happy to slow things down on their approach forward. 14-point lead. Graham will take a long kick down to half forward. A pack will already be awaiting the kick. De Koning was at the front. Went for the hands. Couldn't take the mark. Ball comes to ground. In comes McAuliffe, who can get a hand pass out the way of Sonzi. He kicks inside 50, hoping for a mark. It's Seth Campbell who comes in and takes it.
He did well then because he fell over first but managed to regain his feet and just get there in time. But now where are the Cats defenders? If the Richmond player can fall over, stand up and take a chest mark 30 metres out from goal, well, that means the defenders are too far away.
Seth Campbell making the most of his opportunities with a lot of injuries in the side. He's played all but one game this season. will come in and kick from a 45-degree angle, about 45 metres out as well. After his run-up, launches towards goals. And it's offline this time to the left-hand side. So another miss from the Tigers. The lead, though, extends out to 15 points after 15 minutes gone in the second term, rather.
Letting them off the hook a little bit, the Tigers. Got to take every opportunity down here. You're not going to get a whole stack of them, so you've got to take every one that you can get. And 5 goals 5 is letting them off the hook.
Cats bring it in from fullback. Zach Guthrie waited an eternity to move it on. Eventually found Duncan, who uncharacteristically kicks it out of bounds on the full. Escalera for Mitch Duncan. Maybe some of that light rain and a greasy footy telling a little bit. Tom Brown, the Marupna product, whose dad Paul played here with Geelong. Drop it inside the forward 50 for the Cats. Target was Nankervis. It'll get out the back. Lafau's there, tackled by Kolajasny. Stood up in the tackle, did really well. Handball to Sonsi in the goal square. Open goal for Mansell. Something from nothing from the Tigers. They just keep it moving inside the arc. And Ryan Mansell, the beneficiary of the good work. 6-5-41 to the Cats, 3-2, 2016 gone. Second term, Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
It's been the story of the game, hasn't it, with Richmond just being able to, almost in weighted numbers, just getting the ball rolling forward. And Lafau read that better than anyone else on the ground, especially in these now, what is going to be wet conditions on the ground. The ball's going to skid, and more often than not, it's going to end up at the back of the pack. And rolling on, and Geelong just weren't anywhere near a weight to it. Lafau was the one who kept his feet. He went to the back of the pack, broke through a couple of tackles, and just again kept that ball moving forward. And I don't know how on earth Mansell found himself completely on his own in the 50, sorry, in the square, Berkey, in the end. But again, just disorganised by Geelong and not adjusting to the conditions as quick as what Richmond have.
Bowes tries to tap it to his advantage. Richmond steal it back, though. It's McAuliffe who puts the Tigers back inside 50. Kolajasny was there to try and intercept the mark. Ball came to ground. A slippery footy. Kolajasny can't pick it up. Martin's there, just hand passes into some space. Conway can pick it up for Geelong. He's dispossessed and he'll be penalised for it.
Just outstanding forward pressure again by the Tigers. The ball hits the ground. They just want it more. You can just tell their feet are busy around the contest. They're pushing, shoving on their toes, and the Cats are just standing there waiting for it to all happen for them. So this is outstanding so far by the Tigers.
So Kane McAuliffe will get the kick. Hasn't kicked a career goal yet. The South Australian, who was able to debut at Norwood a little earlier on this year in Gather Round. The boundaries, the similar sizes are a little bit more similar as it is at Norwood. As McAuliffe, a good-looking kick, got the distance, but it's out of bounds on the full. No, it's just squeezed in for a minor score. So still no first goal for McAuliffe. Richmond's lead now 22 points, second term.
Guthrie brings it in for the Cats. Kolajasny with a little bit of shine on the shoulders. Rain falling. Nankervis was the target. Tonga is the target of the kick. Tui read it off the hands of Nankervis and stepped out. He wanted to go on with it. Umpire said, no, you're going to have to bring that back, Zach, and we'll throw it in underneath the Hickey stand.
Richmond got lucky then because Geelong were completely out. They had numbers forward of the ball, 2 and 3 running in unison.
One of those nights it's broken Richmond's way so far. The stoppage, Nankervis tried to ride a couple of tackles, got rid of it somehow, picked up by Bowes. Underground kick only as far as Vlosten, who tubes one inside the forward 50. Cumberland backhanded it to Lafau, who picks it up, trying to slip the tackle, caught holding the ball. He didn't get rid of it effectively. And Zach Guthrie will take the free kick in defence for Geelong. They trail by 22, 19 gone in the second term on ABC Sport.
Happy to chip to Kolajasny, who goes out further towards Mullen. Takes the mark, although McIntosh was right behind him. Kick across to Dempsey, and then Mullen keeps running. He gets the hand pass. He was open, but he dropped it. So Pickett's on hands and knees to pick it up for Richmond. Hand pass to McIntosh. He hand passes inboard towards McAuliffe. He flicks it in front of Graham. It's an awful hand pass. It skids along the ground. He's just got to keep chasing it. Paddles it forward, trying to gain some advantage. Battling with Atkins. It's Atkins that wins out. Falls to the turf and hand passes it out. Here's Cumberland. Puts it on his left boot. He's got Lafau, and Lafau juggles the mark.
No reason at all why Kolajasny is that far away from him. The only thing I can think of is that he just wants to take an intercept mark and wants to get the ball himself and not that interested in stopping his opponent.
So Rafau's been such a shining light in the forward line for Richmond this season. He'll be trying to make his mark here again tonight. 55 metres out. Ball goes towards the goals, and again, it's just skewed across to the left-hand side.
Same side every time.
It is. And another behind the way of Richmond. Now that lead goes out to 23 points. We've just ticked into extra time.
So Tigers with 2 goals 4 in this quarter. The Cats have got one straight. And they're pressing again here in the intercept. Ralph Smith sends it long. Ryan the target. Guthrie draped all over him. Free kick.
And I think that was Zach Tui dropping the ball on that far wing quite uncharacteristically. And as soon as the umpire said that arm go around the front of the forward from behind, well then they just automatically pay a free kick whether you're holding or not.
Samson Ryan. The big man will take his kick. Turns 24 on Tuesday. Young, imposing key position prospect. 2 games, hasn't kicked one as yet this season. Can he straighten things up for the Tigers? He can. Samson stands up. And Richmond out to a game-high 29-point lead. 7-7-49 the Tigers. The Cats 3-2-20. 21 and a half minutes gone in this second term. Your experts on ABC Sport, Kes Peterson and Nathan Burke.
The inside 50s have flipped here, Berkey. It's now 9-6 Richmond's way. That was 6-4 Geelong's way at one point. The only thing that's changed in probably the last 8 to 10 minutes has been that the rain's come down, and in particular the way that Richmond have been playing the game, the whole game actually, even in that first term, was scrappy, almost wet weather footy, and they've been able to go on with it now that the rain has come down. And I can see Rory down there. He'll get a right of reply, but I can see that you put your hood on.
He did. Let's go down to Rory. Hey, Rory, Ollie Henry looks like he might be in a bit more bother.
Yeah, correct, guys. He's just headed to the change rooms with the trainers. He was getting more attention paid to that left hamstring. I think he might have been subbed out of the game. Gary Rowan's moved off the back step and is looking like he's about to come on.
Atkins kicks inside 50. No Geelong mark. It'll be Dan Rioli who can pick it up, send it out wide. It'll be an intercept mark here, though, for the Cats. Here's Jeremy Cameron, who's come further up the ground, just chips it forward towards Bruin. Hand passes to Cameron, who's running all the way up to the line of 50. Long kick right to the goal square. Looking for a mark. Dempsey went up, but it was touched over the line for a minor score. So Richmond ahead by 28 points, 22 minutes gone in the second quarter. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Hayden Short stands at the top of the defensive goal square for the Tigers, then blasts one into the outer side. Ryan was the target for Richmond. Ralph Smith there as well. Max Holmes is wrapped up in the tackle by Cumberland and Ralph Smith. And we will have a ball up. Tigers by 28 points. The one win Richmond. Keep in mind their only win did come against Sydney, which is the great anomaly of the season so far. Kick up toward half forward for the Cats toward Neal. Might have bounced off the bonce of Miller there, so he didn't slap that one over the boundary line, but he's still intervening in creative ways, is Ben Miller. Gary Rowan sitting on the bench, ready to come back in for Ollie Henry, as Rory told us. So ball to be tossed back in, left half forward for Geelong. Tigers 7-7, Cats 3-3.
So now Curvis and Conway at it like they have been all night. Mullen can pick it up and spins around to put Geelong inside 50. It'll bounce once. Bruin chasing after it. The best he could do was just tap it slightly inboard. It'll be a Neal hand pass towards Holmes. Back to Atkins. He'll kick it this time forward. Baker was at the front, couldn't mark, got support from McIntosh, who hand passed it away. It's Nankervis, though, with the clearing kick into the centre of the ground to Cumberland, who just puts his hand up to say he's going to slow, then doesn't. He goes instead. Hand pass to Martin. Flicks it out in front of Seth Campbell. He wasn't the first to the footy, though. It was Atkins who got there, or Kolajasny rather, and kicks long down to Hawkins, who dives to try and take the mark. He was never going to get that one. Just over the boundary line. 28 points the margin Richmond's way. Let's head down to Rory Campbell on the boundary.
Just confirmation on the sub, guys. Ollie Henry out with hamstring awareness, and the hood's not doing too much.
Sorry, Joel. Good adjustment there by Colin Jasmine. He played in front of his player instead of playing behind like he has the last couple of passages.
I thought you were going to say a good adjustment from Campbell downstairs.
Well, that
Good
too.
on. Very good adjustment in these conditions. You've got to make it work quickly. McAuliffe was dragged off the footy, having not taken possession. The boy from Port Augusta, Connor Rosie country.
Berkey might lend you his gloves at halftime, Rory, so put him in your pocket till then.
So McAuliffe will take it from defensive side of the wing. Kes Peterson, Nathan Burke, your experts. Rory Campbell down on the boundary. Joel Peterson, Lauren Borden calling the action for you. Long kick up the wing. Conway was there for the Cats. Double fisted it back the other way. Spilt to Baker in front of the interchange as he runs into a Jack Bowes tackle. And he's brought down. And we will have a ball up. Tigers 7-7. Cats 3-3. 28 points is the lead of Richmond. We are 25 and a half gone in this second term.
So Dow, after the footy was tackled, will be holding the man. And he'll get the free kick right in front of the Richmond bench where Adam Uze has got his long puffer jacket on, kind of looking like a bit of a Premier League manager in this rain. As Dow shoves it on his right boot to get some distance towards Lefau again. He was beaten to the footy by Guthrie. It's Stewart who kicks it out of bounds, almost into the first row.
Well, Fowler does an amazing job of just bringing the ball to ground. He never gets outmarked in the contest, even against two Cats defenders. He does the right thing.
Pickett takes the free kick, tries to dodge and weave and slips over. And O'Connor's there to trap him, and they both have a little bit of a push and shove before the ball finally goes back to O'Connor. The Irishman will have to kick it right half back, but Pickett just not settling into the conditions.
No, he didn't have the wet weather tyres on there, and he just got an armful of opposite lock and couldn't keep the thing on the tracks. Long kick up the line in the end, but it's taken by Baker for the Tigers. We're running all over the Cats here in this second term. Martin with the fend off. He got it away to Pickett, who kicks inside the forward 50. Stayed upright this time, put it straight down the throat of Stewart, who kicks to Duncan, who whips it out wide to Cameron, and the Cats are on the counter-attack. Cameron handball over the top to Close. Now back to Cameron, kicks to left half forward to Stengel. This is what they can do, Geelong. We just haven't seen a lot of it. Stengel goes inside the forward 50. And the mark is taken by Neal. He kicks toward the pocket. Rowan's on the ground. Conway might have gotten his way. Spinning defensively there is McAuliffe to Flostone, who got tackled as he kicked it. 30 out from the Cats' goal. Stengel's kick ricochets away to Dempsey, finally for Geelong. It wasn't pretty. They're not going to be drawing pictures about that one. But all that matters is it'll go in the book as a Cats goal. 4-3-27 to the Tigers 7-7-49. A goal on the counter punch for the Cats reduces the gap to 22. We're 27 and a half gone in the second term.
Well, that was the Tigers of old as in the worst efforts so far this year, because Pickett had two opportunities to drive the ball inside 50, fell over in one of them and panicked in the other one, and when he panicked and kicked the ball straight to the Cats defender, it just opened up the rest of the ground, and Jeremy Cameron was able to get involved with a couple of possessions, get the ball inside 50, and even when they were in their defensive 50, the Tigers had 3 chances to clear the ball and stuffed up every single one of them, which allowed the Cats to get a goal. So shot themselves in the foot there a little bit, the Tigers.
Baker trying to track it in the centre clearance, just pushes it away towards Pickett. He's on the ground. He's battling with Tui. Finally, the ball comes out. Baker goes after it again. Then Bruin's there. Can hand pass it across to Duncan. Fires a hand pass across to Tui. It's a string of hand passes for Geelong. Tui kicks to the top of the 50, bounces inside. Dempsey tries to soccer it. Couldn't get a boot to it. Voston's there. Can hand pass it across to Brown, who curves the ball in to keep it inside the field of play. Left half back, the Tigers are at. Sonzi with the footy. Just kicks it to centre wing. It'll be Baker, who can hand pass out to Pickett, who again fumbles the footy over the line.
Get him off.
A few Geelong players want an insufficient intent, but I think that's just a mistake in skills and the footy being a little wet. So the ball in will come in front of Adam Uze, watching that close proximity. The Tigers ahead by 22 points late in the second.
You're going to have to come up with which Premier League team Adam Uze would be managing. I need a
like
fit
that
for you. We'll get you sometime before the end of the game. I want to know which Premier League team you would assign Adam Uze to manage.
I'll have a thought.
All right, sounds good, Loz. Lauren Borden with you on ABC Sport. Ball will be tossed back in, right in between the interchange gates. 29 and a half gone in this second term. The Tigers have sprung an almighty surprise down here at Kardinia Park on Saturday night footy. At the throw-in, Conway took it away. Handball to O'Connor, who almost threw it to himself to get a kick away. Up toward half forward. Bolter bashes it back for Richmond, only as far as O'Connor. Kept it in. Handballed it to Dempsey, who was outside the boundary line, but he kept it in. Now to Hawkins, junction of the 50 in the boundary. Centering, kick. Rowan stretches, can't mark, brings it to ground. Close. Lightning hand. Stengel running in toward goal. Accosted by Flostone. No free kick, said the umpire. Play just rolls on toward the goal line. They all hail Cabs, and no one's getting anything.
Now, well adjudicated. Stengel led with his head then. Really well umpired just to let that one go.
Ball up top of the goal square. Geelong into attack, trying to cut into a 22-point margin the way of the Tigers. Graham in defence. Dempsey spins, swivels, snaps, got it. Dempsey, the creator, inside forward 50 with the last two for Geelong. And he's dragged them back almost single-handedly to 16 points behind the Tigers. 5-3-33 to 7-7-49. We're past half an hour in this second term on ABC Sport.
It's a bit of a shame for Richmond, Berkey. That's both quarters of this game thus far. They've given up a goal in the last sort of 30 seconds of each quarter, and just brings all the momentum at the moment with Geelong. They really just need to hang on here, the Richmond Tigers, for the last 30 seconds. But fortunately, for the last probably 4 or 5 minutes, Geelong have really got on top around the ball.
Jack Graham, his senior play, he's got to be better than that. He was tackled pretty much immediately when he got the ball, but he tried to get rid of it. He kept the ball alive. The umpire would have just said, give it to me, I'll throw it up again, and had a repeat ball up. But he coughed the ball up in a dangerous spot and cost his team the goal.
Ball up back in the middle, and Conway taps it out. Dow picks it up for Richmond. He spins around, then kicks the Tigers to half forward. It'll be Henry running onto it. Pushes it forward towards Duncan. He's on his hands and knees. Then Cumberland has a go. Slippery footy. McCullough finally is the one that can pick it up and send it deep. Samson Ryan there for the Tigers. Punches it. It's picked up though by DeConey. Hand passes towards Stewart. Skies the footy out. Stengel's there going to take the mark. Affected by Pickett. It might be a free kick here going the way of Stengel, and it is. So Stengel will have the free kick at right half back, but that'll mark the end of the second term at Kardinia Park. It's Richmond with a 16-point lead, 7-7-49 to Geelong, 5-3-33. 3 goals apiece in that second term, but 2 late goals from Geelong bring the margin back to 16 points. The goal kickers for tonight for Geelong, it's 2 to Ollie Dempsey, 1 to Tom Hawkins, Mitch Duncan and Tanner Bruin. And then for the Tigers, McCulty Lafau is the multiple goal kicker there with 2. Cumberland, Samson Ryan, Mansell, Baker, Martin, all with singles for Richmond.
It's been an entertaining opening half here at Kardinia Park. Some light drizzle falling. Chilly night down here. It is heater weather in the Pivot City. And the local team, well, they started the season on a heater. They've cooled off since then, losing their past 4. They got overrun early tonight. But they are fighting their way back into the ball game with back-to-back goals as we go to half-time. As Lauren told you, it is Richmond by 16 points, 7-7 to 5-3. Earlier today, Hawthorn by 27 over Adelaide at the MCG in Jack Gunston's milestone match. In the West, St Kilda 82 defeated the West Coast Eagles 68, and Harley Reid, the big watch out of that one. Of course, your text at halftime as well, 0437 774 774. Phil from Vic says, watching on the tally, enjoying the call. Chris Scott is looking pretty much exasperated. And you can understand why in that first half. Phil, Grant in Hobart wants to know, what's the temp in the new commentary box in Geelong? Well, we're in the old one. It's very comfortable, Grant. Not sure it's the same tail on the boundary.
No, it's not. I'm freezing.
It's a little warm. I was going to say it's a bit warm over here.
I think it's comfortable, Berkey. It's comfortable.
Oh, no, it's not.
The Tigers were really good last weekend against the Bombers. Maybe only one victory doesn't tell the true tale. That is from Steve in Ballarat. So more of your text, 0437 774 774. And the thoughts on the first half from our experts, Australian Football Hall of Famer Nathan Burke and Carlton AFLW captain Karen Peterson.
Well, Kez, the Tigers shot themselves in the foot a little bit there. They certainly the first half of that quarter had 3 or 4 shots from around about sort of 30 metres out, dead in front, most of them, and they missed them all. And that was their time where they were dominating to really put their foot down and put a huge gap in between them and the Cats. And as it turned out, the Cats were always going to keep coming because they're a good, proud club, so they're going to keep coming. And as it turned out, they kicked those late 2 to just get themselves within that 16-point margin, whereas a good side who are really, really confident would have really put the Cats to the sword and should be a 40-point lead at least to the Tigers. But, I was concerned whether they could keep up the pressure and the clearance work. They're still in front with the tackles 39-30. Still winning the clearances 24-18. And if they're going to actually keeping their noses in front at the end of this game, those margins must be increased. They need to keep winning the clearances. The pressure gauge at the moment is 192 to the Tigers and 185 to the Cats. So the pressure was above average for the Tigers and just average there for the Cats. So I'm sure Chris Scott will be going in at halftime saying, hey, it's going to be wet and slippery. This is not the time where we need to sort of start hanging out, getting on the end of a few and playing pretty football. We need to get our hands dirty. We need to match the intensity around the ground balls that the Tigers are showing. And to be honest, for all of Geelong's strengths, that's not really one of their strengths, just being that real intense ground ball, hard-winning team. They are a very slick team with the ball in hand when they've got time and space, but they're going to have to actually turn that around and get their hands dirty in the second half. And the question is, can these young Tigers maintain that rage? And if they can, we're in for a really good second half, Kez.
Yeah, good summary. But what were those pressure numbers you said?
192 for the Tigers and 185 for the Cats.
Yeah, it's an interesting... I mean, the trend is continuing for Geelong. So between rounds 1 and 7, they were ranked number 2 in the competition for their pressure. And they've dropped to number 13 in the last month, which that's the trend that's continuing, unfortunately, here for the Cats. I want to play a game with you in a second, so I'm going to put you on notice around what you're going to do as a coach. But at the moment, they're still being beaten across every area of the ground. So you mentioned that the inside 50s are 25 apiece, but Richmond's had 14 scoring shots. Yes, albeit they didn't make the most of those, and that may come back to bite them. Geelong have only themselves had 8 scoring shots. So it tells me that in attack, they're not generating enough scoring shots to... I mean, if they were playing a top 4 team tonight, which they did last week, they're going to get blown out of the park with that sort of ratio. And they've given up 14 to Richmond. So they've had 8 themselves and given up 14 to Richmond. So their defence is not quite there either. They're down in the tackles, they're down in the clearances. And if it wasn't for Ollie Dempsey igniting them with those 2 goals, they really wouldn't be anywhere close to, really being in the game. So my question to you is, if you're Chris Scott, what do you do? What levers are you pulling? Jeremy Cameron had one passage of play through that second term where he got involved in a chain up the ground, but he's ultimately been ineffectual. Tom Hawkins, again, he kicked a goal early, which was great, but he's really had absolutely no impact on the game. They obviously lost Ollie Henry, but he's been down for the last couple of weeks. So, Berkey, question, Coach's Corner, what levers are you pulling in this second half?
Guys like Close are really important for the Cats. He's had 1 kick, 4 handballs. Tui, just the 4 and 2. Jeremy Cameron, 4 and 3, but really he's just getting some cheap handball receives as in the 1-2s on the way past. I'm putting those guys. Stengel's had 9, but he's going at 17% kicking efficiency. They're my good players. They're the ones that I need the ball in their hands. So I'm saying, right, Close, you're out now playing on the wing. Zach Tui, you know what, you can go in at a few centre bounces. Jeremy Cameron, why can't you go in at a few centre bounces as well? Because you're our good players. Start playing well. We can't adjust the way that we're playing. We can't adjust our game style to bring you into the game. The best we can do is get you around the footy. We're going to put you around the footy. Now start earning your pay. Start giving this team something, because at the moment you're not giving this team anything at all. Have a small forward line, make Gary Rowan your key down there. Hawkins, well, you can stay deep in the goal square and not get out much further, because when you do, all you're doing is dragging Miller and Bolter out, and they're beating you when they get out a little bit further. So you can stay deep. Jack Henry, get you into the game. You've only had the 3 touches as well. So sometimes there's no magic bullet of moves that you can make in terms of, all I can do is I'm going to get you around the footy. Now start being the player that we know that you can be.
Without Blitzards, he's sort of been the lever that Chris Scott likes to pull as well, so they can't make some of the changes that Chris Scott usually would make. 0437 774 774. Daniel from Burnie in Tasmania, Seth Campbell country, who's been having a nice night for the Tigers. Really would like the Cats to run home and win this, so next week my Swans aren't facing a team on a 0-5 run who are desperate for a win. The Swans will be back in action next week against the Cats. Fran from Melbourne, one for you here, Kez. This may be the stupider question, but have to ask, do injured players attend games although they can't play?
Yes, yeah, they do. I mean, they won't take every player to an away game. They won't fly injured players interstate, but if it's a home game, every injured player will be here for sure.
There you go. So your question answered, Fran. And the text that came in earlier from Robin Greensboro, is there anything in this, Berkey? Odd observation time. For many years I've noticed the best teams are always receiving handballs without breaking stride and keeping both feet on the ground. Bottom teams always leap up to take it. Compare Sydney to North. Geelong in round one, or rounds 1 to 7, always feet on the ground. Since then, usually leaping up to get it. Is there anything in that and maybe what would cause that?
It's a good point, and it's what we teach the players at training, not to jump and catch the ball if you don't have to. Keep your feet, your running motion going. So it's absolutely what we teach the players. But sometimes it can be, I don't know what I'm going to do with it when I get the handball received. If a player knows what's downfield and where he's actually heading, he'll keep his feet on the ground and keep running. But sometimes if you're a little bit unsure, you're not sure whether I'm going to get collared, well, you know, I'm going to jump a little bit and just take my focus away from exactly what I want to do. So really good observation.
Nathan Burke and Kes Peterson, your experts on ABC Sport. It is half-time at Kardinia Park and the upstart Tigers have got the better of the Cats in the opening half. They lead by 16 points. 7-7-49 to Geelong, 5-3-33. More of your texts and plenty more game action coming up very soon here from Kardinia Park. But for now, let's get the latest from ABC News.
This is ABC News with David Rowlands. Rescuers will spend the night combing through a massive pile of rubble in the search for a woman who it's feared may be trapped there after a house explosion in Western Sydney. Fire and rescue crews were called to the property in the suburb of Wayland this afternoon after the huge explosion which destroyed the property. 5 people suffered minor injuries and are in stable conditions. However, one woman is unaccounted for and seismic equipment is being used in a delicate operation to try to determine if she's under the rubble. Fire crews say it's a protracted process as the rubble needs to be moved piece by piece. Services have resumed at Perth Airport, but the disruption caused earlier today by a major refuelling issue is expected to cause continued problems across the country. Rebecca Trigger has the details.
There's been some relief evident here in the Perth International and Domestic Airport as ordinary flights begin to resume. Planes have been grounded on the tarmac since last night after the airport refuelling system developed a problem with the pressure in the pipes. The airport identified the problem, addressed it and has tested the system. However, the airport is expecting flow-on effects to flights into the night and possibly tomorrow as well. There have been dozens of flights cancelled across Australia, many in Perth and also internationally, because flights were unable to arrive at Perth Airport unless they had enough fuel to turn around and go back again.
Police have arrested a 43-year-old man over the death of a woman in Darwin. Lillian Rangier has at the scene.
Police were called to the Coconut Grove home in Darwin's North about 12:30 this afternoon, where they found a 36-year-old woman dead at the scene. A 43-year-old man turned himself into police, who believe the pair knew each other. A crime scene has been declared at the unit, with officers guiding the scene and forensics working throughout the afternoon to recover evidence. Investigations are continuing.
US President Joe Biden has called on Israel and Hamas to accept a 3-phase plan that would lead to a permanent ceasefire in Gaza. He says the proposal would initially involve a 6-week pause in the fighting, the release of Israeli hostages in exchange for Palestinian prisoners, and Israel's withdrawal from populated areas of Gaza. Israel says the war won't end until all of its goals are achieved, but confirmed that negotiators have been authorised to present a truce deal. President Biden says the two sides must seize the moment.
Indefinite war in pursuit of an unidentified notion of total victory will only bog down Israel and Gaza, draining the economic, military, and human resources, and furthering Israel's isolation in the world. That will not bring hostages home. That will not bring an enduring defeat of Hamas. That will not bring Israel lasting security.
Hamas says it views the proposal positively. Results in the Indian election are expected to be released late on Tuesday following the nation's marathon 6-week national poll. Larry Buttrose has more.
Voting in the final round of ballots is underway across 7 states and 1 territory. Most opinion polling shows Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his BJP party ahead of a broad opposition alliance. If Mr Modi wins a 3rd term, he'll repeat a feat only previously achieved by India's founding Prime Minister Nehru. Nearly 970 million people, more than 10% of the world's population, were eligible to elect India's new parliament for the coming 5 years.
Back home, and jail capacity in South Australia will be expanded with $227 million towards more beds at its biggest prisons. The funding is in the state budget to be delivered next Thursday. Yatala Prison will have its capacity increased to hold 1,158 prisoners, a rise of 38%. The Adelaide Women's Prison will be expanded to hold 316 inmates. The Treasurer, Stephen Mulligan, says it will mean that state prisons have enough capacity to keep South Australians safe.
And it's being done right here at Yatala with a focus on high security prisoners and making sure that we expand these facilities in 3 new cell blocks. So a really significant commitment, the single largest investment in our prison system by dollar and by capacity in the state's history.
Turning to sport, and in Super Netball, the Melbourne Vixens have dominated the Giants 74-60 in front of a big home crowd at the John Cain Arena. The Vixens made a strong start, taking the lead at quarter time before the margin ballooned to 9 goals at the main break. Goal shooter Sophie Garben was awarded Player of the Match.
Time to steady and pull the trigger!
Have you heard the latest AFL podcast from the ABC? Join myself, Catherine Murphy, and AFL legend Paul Roos as we discuss all the big storylines. Feed your footy obsession or just learn more about the game as we bring you all the latest news and analysis. Find the ABC AFL Daily Podcast on the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
So Atkins pulls out the footy, tries to get a hand pass away, stolen by Graham. Can hand pass to Baker, and Richmond can go forward here. The foul, couldn't take the mark. He'll chase after it though. He's tackled by Guthrie. No holding the ball called. Cumberland puts the footy on his boot, and he's bounced it through.
Over his head.
It's squeezed through past Kolajasny. He was on the line, ready to stop that ball from going through.
Inside forward 50 for the Cats. Atkins puts his head down, farms it up to Dempsey, to Bruin. Left foot snap around the body's a beauty. Tanner Bruin with goals in back-to-back weeks. Target was Nankervis. It'll get out the back. Lafau's there, tackled by Kolajasny. Stood up in the tackle, did really well. Handball to Sonsi in the goal square. Open goal for Mansell. Something from nothing from the Tigers. Ralph Smith sends it long. Ryan the target. Guthrie draped all over him. Free kick. Samson Ryan. Big man will take his kick. Wins 24 on Tuesday. Young, imposing key position prospect. 2 games, hasn't kicked one as yet this season. Can he straighten things up for the Tigers? He can. Samson stands up. Ball up top of the goal square. Geelong into attack, trying to cut into a 22-point margin the way of the Tigers. Graham in defence. And Dempsey spins, swivels, snaps. Got it. Dempsey, the creator.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Half-time at Cardinia Park, and it is Richmond who lead Geelong. At half-time, 10 ladder positions difference between these two teams. Cats 7th, Tigers 17th. And it is Richmond 7-7-49 to Geelong 5-3-33 at the half. Joel Peterson, Lauren Borden calling all the action for you on ABC Sport. Great to have your company around our footy states, wherever you might be listening on the ABC Listen app or on the AFL app. Big weekend of footy coming up tomorrow, Melbourne and Freo. You'll get that game through Alice Springs with Clint Mildren and the team, and then the late game is the Gold Coast and Essendon, which is an intriguing contest. The Suns undefeated at home so far this season, and the Bombers are red hot. Of course, AFL Sunday with Ben Cameron from 12 o'clock tomorrow. So that's when your footy fix starts, 12 o'clock Eastern time. You can get Corbin and Ben on the podcast store during the week. Of course, the best of the AFL Saturday and Sunday shows also on the Best of ABC Sport feed in the podcast store, and AFL Daily as well, so you can get your daily footy fix throughout the week as well, all courtesy of your podcast provider. Halftime here, 0437 774 774. Let us know where you're listening from, especially if you're driving back from country footy or something out in the west. You might have seen your team win this afternoon and be driving back somewhere. Love to hear from you. Tom's texted in, Kez and Berkey, and said, hey guys, would love your thoughts on Kane McAuliffe's impact tonight. Should Geelong pay him some attention? 14 disposals for Kane McAuliffe, the teenager, the fifth gamer from Central Augusta. He's been pretty impressive, Berkey.
He has been, and I noticed him last week against the Bombers. Did some really nice things. He's a good size. He's got the beginnings of a really good frame on him. He's going to be a strong midfielder, and he's got a good left foot that I think he's going to get better. It's a little bit inconsistent at the moment. He had a shot for goal and just pushed it out to the left. When he contacts it properly, it really goes a long way, and it's one of those penetrating left foot kicks. It's just a little bit inconsistent with that at the moment, but yeah, he's going to be a big-bodied midfielder for the Tigers for a long time to come, so I like the way he goes about it.
Caught him last year playing under-18 footy for South Australia, and he's a pretty imposing prospect at that level. They've got another coming through that SA team in Sid Draper, who was their best player at last year's championships as a bottom-ager. Of course, the under-18 nationals are going on at the moment. Big Country gets a start next week.
Good to see some Sids coming back into vogue.
Yep. Should be more of it, I reckon.
Well, it's up to you two.
There's a Carl over at Fremantle. Of course, they had Carl Warner on their list in the last couple of seasons as well.
What about Hank? Hank's a good name for a kid.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Not Tank, Loz?
Not Tank. He can be Hank the Tank.
I don't think we've had a Hank play AFL footy, have we? Or not that I can remember.
Maybe not since Hank Bolger, but I'm not sure he did a lot of AFL footy playing. 0437 774 774. Car is listening 9 kilometres out of Yalata in South Australia, camping at a rest area, driving to Perth, from Perth to Melbourne for a nursing job. Well, better than flying, Cara. Great to have you with us. Second half underway. Here's Lauren Borden.
Richmond ahead by 7 points. Dow overruns the footy. Atkins can pick it up. Geelong going inside 50, kicking towards the Joel Selwood end. Here's Rowan. The sub hand passes towards Hawkins. He drops it. He'll kick to the top of the 50 to find a mark. Spots up Holmes and hits him on the chest.
Berkey, not great signs early for Richmond. They were almost witches' hats in that passage of play. Tom Hawkins had the opportunity to fumble a relatively straightforward handball, then turn around, almost do a 360 and spot up a teammate right in the middle of the ground. And Holmes is going to line up from 45 out.
So to start Geelong's second half with intent, as they look to wind back this margin, Holmes has got it. An early goal for the Cats. That margin comes back down to just 10 points early in the third term. It's Richmond 7-7-49, leading Geelong 6-3-39. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Your experts are Karen Peterson, Nathan Burke.
Well, you know the Cats are going to come at some stage. And if you're the Tigers, you probably might have even spoken about it at half-time and said, look, they may get a run on. They may maintain field position up forward for large parts of the quarter because they are a good side. So when they kick one, you don't get down, you don't get to think, oh, here they come. You just think, no, this is what we expected to happen, but we know how to get out of it. How we get out of it is we just attack the footy and attack the man with the ball as hard as we can.
Rain's cleared up for this second half. That breeze has dropped again. And maybe the Cats ready to make a charge. Out of the middle, it was Holmes who got dragged down, the goal kicker. The ball squirted Richmond's way out of the stoppage. Now tapped up the line, short, knocked it to Nankervis, knocked it to Rioli, to Graham, to Rioli, spins through a tackle, got the handball out to Baker, feigned a little handball, stepped through the stoppage and all the traffic, now hands it off to Short, Short goes inside the forward 50, the kick will work, it falls onto the lap of Campbell.
Do you reckon he meant that, or do you reckon that was off the instep?
No, I think it was a bit lucky. A little bit lucky, but, you know, you make your own luck. Campbell kept his eyes on the footy. Well done by Baker. He had everyone full there. He thought he was going to handball it and kick it. I wanted him to kick it, but he got an extra handball into a free player. Campbell missed one early on. This is an easy one. 25 out, dead in front.
3 goals, 7 on the season for Seth Campbell. Impressive youngster. Can he convert here? It's a high kick, and it's a straight kick. Instant response from Richmond. And that'll please the Tigers fans no end. 8-7-55 to the Cats, 6-3-39. 3 gone, third term, Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Well, you called it, Berkey, and that's deflating for Geelong. They work really hard in that first minute to get a score and peg that margin back to 10 points. And Richmond did exactly what you said that they should do, which was, hey, don't let that one goal get to us. We know that they were going to make a run on us, and they did. How do we get back in top? It's we win the clearance, we get the ball forward like what we did, a little bit of magic from Baker and a great finish in the end. So game on. Well done, Richmond, for the reply.
It's interesting, after that first Geelong goal, Dusty Martin started in the centre bounce. So he's gone, right, we're back on track. We've got a goal. I'm going forward again.
So Nankervis taps it down and picks up the footy, centre of the ground. Bowes can pick it up though for Geelong. Hand pass to Atkins, long kick inside 50. It'll be punched away by Miller. Did well. Got it towards Graham. He's taken in a strong row and tackle. That's holding the ball.
Slammed him down.
So it's by swinging to the ground that it's pinned. Richmond free kick. Graham with the footy. Kicks out wide towards Broad. So Broad has it as the boos continue to ring out on Cardinia Park. And he just chips it slightly forward towards Short. So right half back for the Tigers. 60-metre kick long down the wing. Lafau was there at the front. Pushed it down. Graham went in. He couldn't pick it up. De Koning goes forward towards Holmes, who hand passes to Tui. He's got the run of Holmes to flick a hand pass across to. And Holmes will go towards the goal square. Dempsey's down there if he can mark it. It's tapped away. There might be a kick from Cameron here right in the goal square. It's just through for a rush behind. So 17 points now, 15 points rather, the margin now in favour of the Cats. 8-7, Richmond plays 6-4 Geelong.
Another pejorative chant going up around Cardinia Park here from the Geelong supporters. They're never done by the Geelong supporters. No, I wouldn't imagine that in a million years. Beautiful kick, spearing pass from Floston and McIntosh. Off the text line, Cam and Allen. I'm not even going to attempt to read that out. I'm going to need some pronunciation help of the place name that you've sent through. So 0437 774 774. You're going to have to spell that one out for me, I think. Long kick down the line from McIntosh. Oh, then Curvis comes through the pack. There's a Shepherd in there. It'll go the Cats' way. Stewart's got it centre wing, and the locals think, well, maybe about time. Kolajasny swings it across the defensive 50 now to Duncan. Duncan, a scything pass up the middle, finds Cameron, who's been quiet tonight, 70 from home. He just lopes around on the left boot, chips it inside the 50 to Bowes. And Bowes has got Zach Guthrie, who's snuck a long way down the ground. He goes eyes up, looks at the sticks and exploits them. Zach Guthrie sneaking down for the 4th goal of his season and just the 14th in his 89 games. And the margin is back to single figures. 7-4-46 Geelong, 8-7-55 Richmond, 6 gone, third term on ABC Sport.
Really poor checking there by the Richmond defenders, and don't like to put the heat on young midfielders, but it was Thompson Dow who was just hanging around in that D50 for Richmond, and the kick went in, and instead of pushing over and delaying it was Guthrie on the mark. He just decided just to stay where he was, and it allowed Guthrie just unopposed just to be able to run into goal. So a bit lazy, really poor checking by the Richmond defenders on that occasion.
Cam and Allen have come up with the goods too, Berkey. They're driving 3.5 hours home to Muckenbooten after watching the Eagles lose at Perth Stadium, listening to the great call. Thanks for keeping us company. Hope I did the pronunciation justice, guys. Great to have you with us.
There we go. Margin back to single figures at Cardinia Park. First time since the first quarter. There's another chance here as Bowes kicks it towards Hawkins, punches it down, and then he does the tackling Hawkins. Plenty of intent coming from the Geelong forward. Games record holder here. Finally, let's brought up with a little pat on the back as he nominates himself as ruck against Nankervis. Tossed up inside 50 for Geelong, punched out, it'll bounce outside of 50. Kolajasny running onto it, hand passes to Cameron, he fumbles the footy. And it goes over the boundary line, outer side of the ground. 55 metres out from Geelong's goal. We'll have a throw-in. It's the Cats trailing by 9 points. 10 minutes into the third quarter.
Ball to be spun back into play. Cats kicked 3 in a row, either side of half-time. Goal for goal since at the stoppage. Work inside the forward 50 to Bowes, who attacks it at pace and finishes with a touch of class. And here comes Geelong. 8-4-52 the Cats. Richmond 8-7-55. Cats have got 5 of the past 6 in the ball game. We're 8 through the third and they're really closing in.
Well, it was just Bowes who wanted that ball the most. It was a throw-in just inside the forward 50 for the Cats, and everyone was standing there next to their opponent, but it was Bowes who started on the defensive side, got on the move, made something happen, and if you make something happen, you're going to get the reward, and that's what Bowes did then. And a little bit poor checking by the Tigers. We didn't see that in the first quarter. We saw them really smother the Cats. Got to get back to doing that.
So from the middle, it's a quick kick from Bowes towards Close. Falls through his hands as he tried to take a chest mark. Brown was there. Hand pass back to Baker. Shoved it on his boot to get some distance. It's close to the boundary line. It was touched over the line, so just a throw-in between wing and half forward for the Tigers.
Might go downstairs to Rory Campbell. Hey, Rory, you're a West Aussie. You ever been to Muckenbooden?
I've passed through Muckenbooden, the wheat belt country if memory serves. Some fantastic people from out that way. Yeah, terrific part of the world.
Sounds like there'd be some good stories passing through Muckenbooden. There's the ball. Good bakeries. There you go.
Love
good
that.
Slice as the ball's tossed in. There's a long kick from Bruin out to the outer side of the ground. Dempsey's got to chase after it. He shrugs off a tackle. Does well. The kick goes 5 metres straight to Mansell. Was that Pate? Pate a mark, or he's just got some space so he can take it. Kick out wide towards Bolter. So Richmond under plenty of pressure now. We're leading by 16 points at half-time. Margin now back to just 3 points. A long kick from Bolter goes down the Hickey wing. Up rises Conway, can't mark. In comes Dow for the Tigers. It'll go back and then it'll go forward for the Geelong, who pushes it forward, but then here comes McAuliffe. A great game so far. A long kick inside 52 as well. Bounces inside 50 for the Tigers. Pickett in some space. Can have a quick chip at the goals. Can't take it. Lefau's there. He might be able to put a boot on it. It's on the goal line. A metre out. Lefau's there. It is desperate stuff. It's like a rugby try line as it just bounced over the line. The umpire will go for a score review potentially here to see if anyone got a boot on that. That was 10 players on the line.
We know he's got New Zealand heritage and he just put that into the scrum.
Maybe he forgot what game he was playing. Back to his days in the development squad of Melbourne Storm, Lefau.
He did really well, but he kept the ball alive inside the forward inside the goal square, but he ended up on his belly. And his belly with his head facing the goal line, and so he couldn't actually get himself upright enough.
Might have come off Kolajasny's boot in the end as it just crossed the line. So the result from the score review just be a behind. Richmond's lead to 4 points after 11 minutes played in the third quarter.
Geelong are really compressing the ground here. You can see the defenders are calling all the forwards up the ground. They've opened up the outer side space.
Stewart in from fullback, kicks toward Cameron. Had it knocked away from him again by Miller. He's done a terrific job so far tonight, but infringed on that occasion. So Cameron's got the free kick at right half back. They're on the Moorabool Street side of the ground. Long high kick up the line. Ryan front spot for Richmond. Just couldn't take it as he had his arms outstretched. Picked up by Short. Whips his kick around the body into the centre of the ground. Finds Martin, who immediately says, let's just hold it up. Wait for the numbers to come our way. There's a free kick downfield. Is it 50?
Someone must have ran into the zone. I was looking down the field for a free player, so we'll look at the replay, see if we can see anything here. But Dusty took the mark in the middle of the ground all by himself. Must have been somebody.
Tom Atkins comes through the protected area just sort of on the broadcast side of Martin, but that's who the 50's been paid against according to our stats screen. Meanwhile, Martin's got the set shot. He's kicked lots of important goals for Richmond, many of them against the Cats. And that's another. Dusty's got 2. He's kicked 5 in the past 2 weeks. As he approaches game 300, there are no signs of slowing down. He puts the Tigers 10 points to the good once more. 9-8-62 to the Cats 8-4-52. 12 and a half gone in this third term on ABC Sport. Kez and Berkey, was it justified?
No, that wasn't. That's a very, very harsh.
I knew what I was walking into there.
Yeah, that is an incredibly harsh penalty for something that completely had no impact on the play. Maybe that might be. We might need to write a letter, Berkey. Another rule adjudication. Don't change the rule, but unless they have any impact on what's about to happen, it's not justified giving a 50-metre penalty and a goal away.
Good for the game, though, but terrible decision.
So Atkins is back in the middle for Geelong. It's McAuliffe who goes after it, couldn't pick it up cleanly. Gives a chance to Bruin, who can hand pass it to Holmes. He'll go wide along the broadcast wing, looking for Dempsey. It was well done by Brown to affect it. Push the ball forward, then go back for a hand pass. Hand pass to Pickett. He's got 3 Geelong players around him. Stewart wins out in that contest. Hand passes to Atkins. Pinpoint pass towards Close. Still around 3 kicks away from Geelong goal. Will go inside 50. Was looking for Myers over the top of his head. Bolter went back there. Then he smothers the kick from Hawkins, and Geelong will be able to exit defensive 50 here. The hand passes will make their way towards Bolter. He drops the footy, has to chase after it. Holmes is there, picks it up and hand passes to De Koning.
De Koning off a standing start, kicks high and long up the line. Floston comes over, goes with 2 fists and just bashes it out toward the boundary line. Pickett kept it in, knocked it toward Campbell with an open fist. And then Atkins goes through. He was taken high. Now to be a free kick in front of the Cats interchange for Tom Atkins.
Interesting decision by Pickett to knock that one back into play. I reckon he probably could have allowed it over the boundary, reset, stoppage, and away they go.
17 disposals for Atkins. Hands off to Bowes. Kicks inside the forward 50. Neal with a run at it. Free kick. Hold. Going to Geelong. Ollie Dempsey.
Bit of theatre there from the umpire who blew his whistle but decided to wait a good 4 or 5 seconds before sticking the arm out to whose free kick it was.
Tilby running past, he was ready for that. You're going to load up, but Dempsey's decided to take the responsibility. Richmond's players probably should have been awake to that because he does it quite often, Tui, but not used on that occasion.
Kicked 3 in his first game of this season. Never finished a game with 2 goals. He's kicked 3 once and 1 on a handful of occasions. He's got 2 so far. He'll kick from 10 inside the boundary line, 45 metres from home, and he'll stay with 2, and he won't even add a score to that. Out of bounds on the full from Ollie Dempsey. 10-point lead to Richmond, 9-8 to 8-4. Joel Peterson, Lauren Borden, Nathan Burke, Kieran Peterson and Rory Campbell with you. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
I'd be giving Pickett more rests on the bench. When he gets tired, he does some dumb things.
So Floston wearing the long sleeves, long kick out of defence. It's coming back his way though. Dempsey did well to pull it down. Tui got involved, and then so did Broad though of the Tigers. So the ball will go out of bounds for a throw in at half forward for the Cats.
We have got some spectacular listener locations as well coming up, Loz. 0437 774 774. Some absolute beauties.
So ball tossed in, Samson Ryan palms it down. Here comes Atkins again. He's spun around. He can just get a kick away. Top of the 50 for the Cats. Bounces into some space. Bruin's there. No time to think. Shoves it on his boot. And again misses to the left-hand side. So that margin now just back to single figures, but it's 9 points in favour of the Tigers. We've played 16 and a half minutes in the third term.
Andrea and Tony are listening to the game while driving up the east coast of Scotland toward John O'Groats. Go Cats, they say. Thanks, Andrea and Tony. Long kick in from Bolter from fullback. Clears the pack. Mullins there for Geelong. Little sidestep was neat to get around Ralph Smith. Send it back to the edge of the 50. Hawkins! A rare positional win that the Cats have had on Ben Miller so far tonight, and Tom's marked 48 metres from home out at right half forward.
Miller's been really good tonight when he can run and leap at it, but on that occasion just wasn't strong enough pushing back into Tom. And Tom Hawkins, when he can make that space for himself over the back, very rarely does he not take that opportunity. So Miller should learn from that.
One already tonight for Tom Hawkins, kick 2 in his record-breaking 356th game last week. He's on the runway from outside 50. It's a kick to a dangerous position, but won't have the carry. Neil was up, bashed toward the goal line. Dempsey! A poacher's chance as he sockers it off the ground. And Ollie Dempsey's equalled a career best with 3, and all of them have been fashioned out of nowhere. 9-5-59 for Geelong. Richmond 9-8-62. Back to 3 points the spread. 17, nearly 18 played in the third.
An absolute coach killer, that one. Burke, I can see you looking up at the replay. I'm interested in your thoughts, but as a defensive unit, the number one thing when a high ball's coming in like that, particularly in a very, very dangerous space, is do not let the ball out the back. You must, if you're going to punch, it has to come forward. And if it does get out the back, do not let your opponent be goal side. And unfortunately for Richmond on that occasion, Dempsey only had a couple of mates that were goal side and was able to soccer it through. But yeah, not a great passage of play from the Richmond defenders, but take nothing away from Dempsey. That was an opportunist goal.
Shannon Neal sent into the ruck because Conway couldn't get back on it. Still a clearance though for Geelong via Holmes. He kicks it to half forward. Sitting back is Tom Brown. Easy mark ahead of Stengel. Right half back for the Tigers, leading by 3 points, holding on to that 3-point advantage. Kicks down to Ralph Smith, who's marked right in front of the Geelong bench. And things just seem a little bit more difficult for Richmond this quarter. Down to a pack 60 metres out from Richmond's goal. Shannon Neal, who stands back there, marks. But it'll be a free kick going against him for a push in the back. Opposing ruck, Toby Nankervis to take it.
Threw it back with some pace as well, and then Curvis kicks an absolute dead pigeon inside the forward 50, 30 metres out from the Richmond goal. Duncan just waltzes through, got it to Myers. Myers squirts a kick outside the back arc, links up with Stengel, handball to Atkins. The Cats are away. Atkins floats in the direction of Close, who marks in stride, keeps on motoring, finds Neal. Cats are everywhere. Neal will turn, steady, and hand them the lead. It was a catwalk from end to end for Geelong. And for the first time tonight, the home team's in front. 10-5-65 to Richmond 9-8-62. Ticking into time on in this third term Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Well, that's the cleanest passage of play we've seen all night, from one end of the ground to the other from the Cats. And the Tigers so far have been outstanding at stopping that type of play. We know the Cats are very good at it, especially down here, using the corridor and overlapping run. But that time then just no chance of stopping that. In the end, the Cats had pushed forward, and it was 4 against 1 inside their forward 50, always going to get a goal.
Might go again here, Geelong 2. Atkins pushes it forward, then Ralph Smith tackles Tui to try and stop him from going any further forward. Ball will spill out to half forward for Geelong. It's the Richmond Tigers that pick up through Baker. Hand passes across to McIntosh. All alone on the Hickey wing. He takes a bounce, then kicks down towards half forward. Guthrie at front position. He just wants to run on. Hand passes without looking. And McIntosh is on the ground for the Tigers to pick it up. Hand passes again. It's Guthrie that picks up. It'll be punched forward though. Tigers desperately trying to move it towards their goal. Instead, it's Mullen who picks it up for Geelong. He kicks defensively towards Stewart, who just kicks it on his boot to get some distance away from 50. It goes straight in the direction of the boundary line, and there was no decision coming from that other than insufficient intent. And Ralph Smith takes it for the Tigers.
Shot short to Brown. Of course, not only did his dad play here, but his sister played here as well, Millie. So Cats connection for the young Tiger. Sends it to full forward, Ryan! Reads it beautifully in flight, and from the back of the pack accepts it to his chest. 30 out, dead in front.
Well done by the big fella. Just worked his way to the football. It wasn't the greatest kick coming in, but he read it the best. And He's already kicked one tonight from the set shot. Wasn't the most aesthetically pleasing type of shot, but it went straight. Need this one. They've behind for the first time tonight. Need to get back in front.
Unorthodox but effective the first time. How's the second?
Yep.
Carbon copy. Ryan jabs it through. And Richmond hit the front again. This young team answering some challenges tonight. 10-8-68 the Tigers. The Catters 10-5-65. 22 gone. Third term on ABC Sport.
I reckon that's the thing that's going to please the Richmond coaching staff the most is that the passage of play that led to the Geelong goal not less than 2 minutes ago could have really unravelled the Richmond Tigers and just gone, oh gosh, here we go. Cats are probably going to run over the top of us, but it hasn't been that at all. Every time that they've really been challenged, the Tigers, they've found a way to respond and to be able to kick a goal against really what's been the passage of play to to finish off what's going to be this third term. It's probably been the most impressive thing for me tonight.
So the lead brought back the Tigers' way after quickly surrendering it to Geelong. It's Nankervis with the footy. He's double teamed to the ground. It's Conway who finishes the tackle and the umpire says that'll be mine. And a ball up will occur still in the centre circles of Gardenia Park as Nankervis taps it away towards McAuliffe. He slips over. And again, it's tough going in the centre circles of the ground. We'll have a third ball up almost within those centre circles. So Conway tries to get it out of there by tapping it to Bruin. He goes over it. Martin tries to have a hack at it. It's Holmes in the end for Geelong who can hand pass it to Mullen. Kicks forward. It's Myers chasing after it. He couldn't take it. Richmond might be able to have an out here. It's at left half back where Brown collects. Takes a second to make a decision and then hand passes back to Short. He'll just shove it on his boot. Centre wing, outer side of the ground. A big fly came from Guthrie. No mark. It's O'Connor who kicks further forward, or further backwards rather, towards Duncan, who now looks to go forward for Geelong.
So Duncan jabs it toward Jack Henry. Mark's just in the nick of time in front of McAuliffe. Immediately wants to move it along. Holmes on the AFL logo. Looks inside to Bruin. Cuts his kick across the middle to Bowes. Bowes 60 from home. Darts it into the chest of Cameron. Jezza slides out and marks. 40 metres out. Slide angle left of centre.
Good footy by the Cats. They were able to effect the intercept and showed a bit of dare coming through the middle of the ground. Holmes, he broke a couple of tackles. Was able to move the ball from side to side, and it's what we expect from Jeremy Cameron. Come straight up the guts and he'll go back and kick this, I've got no doubt.
2 goals in his last 3 games. Jeremy Cameron a little bit quiet on the score sheet. When they need their stars to stand up, that's exactly what Cameron does. Goal for goal here in this third term. It's real value for shot stuff on a Saturday night here at Gardenia Park. 11-5-71 Geelong. Richmond 10-8-68. Our third lead change in the last 10 minutes. 25 gone on ABC Sport.
Inside 50s this quarter, 12-5 in favour of the Cats, and the poor old Richmond defence, when the ball comes down like that, pretty much uncontested through the middle of the ground, allowing Jeremy Cameron to lead straight ahead. There's absolutely nothing the Richmond defenders can do about that, so we need a little bit more pressure through that middle third of the ground from the Tigers midfielders and high forwards.
Jeremy Cameron, the 9th goal kicker for Geelong so far this evening. As the ball was bounced in the middle of the ground. Bruin went after it. It's Nankervis that picks up. He's tackled by 2. Mullen and Bruin doing the tackling for a ball up just on the outer edge of the centre square. Nankervis taps it away. Dow couldn't control it. Bruin's there. Hand passes backwards towards Myers, who put a dinky kick forward, which will be picked off though by Ralph Smith of the Tigers. Back edge of the centre square. Ralph Smith has it, and he's got players out wide. Pickett was there, so was Samson Ryan, and Ryan will take the mark for Richmond. Holding on to the footy, centre wing, Hickey side of the ground.
2 goals for big Samson Ryan. Wants to move it on. Eventually does. He just drops a high footy inside the forward 50. Lafau attacks it. Jack Henry brought it down 45 metres out from the Richmond goal. Pickett knocked it on only as far as to Koning, who sends it back the other way, straight back to Ryan.
Keep it simple, big fella. Bang it back in.
So Ryan looks and does exactly as Nathan Burke instructs. Sends it to the pocket. Lafau's got 2 to beat. Brings it down. Almost found it at his feet. He does just keep it moving. He dives on it. Duncan dives upon him. What does the umpire say? That'll be holding the ball. He does make things happen, McKelty Lafau. Sometime not in his favour. 27 gone in this term. Geelong deep in defence, but they lead by 3.
Mitch Duncan with the kick goes out towards Mullen. Doesn't take the mark. Bounces back inside forward 50 for Richmond. Pickett's there. He's swung around in the tackle by Cameron. Umpire blows his whistle. No prior opportunity. There'll be a ball up. Half forward for the Tigers.
Clearances are 12-2 Geelong's favour this quarter. Richmond need to get on top here.
So Dow, hand pass to McIntosh. High, long ball to the top of the goal square. There's 2 Richmond v 2 Geelong. It's the Cats that'll be chasing back here to win out by De Koning, who's just happy to see that trickle its way over the boundary line for a throw-in. 5 metres around from the right behind post. It's Geelong at the moment that have the lead by 3 points.
Nathan Burke and Kes Peterson just speaking things into existence at the moment. Our experts on ABC Sport. Ball to be tossed back in next to the right hand behind post. Nankervis in ruck against Conway. Tried to grab it out of the ruck. Pickett's out the back of the stoppage. Back feed to Dow. Tries to shimmy around an opponent. High kick to the top of the goal square. Oh, in from the side. Almost a mark for Richmond and Mansell. Just couldn't latch onto it. Atkins to Duncan. He's going to go the tube from outside the defensive 50. Bounces off the bonce of Cameron. Still across half-back Geelong. Cameron picks it up. Slams it down the line. 1 on 2. Didn't favour the Cats. Rowan made something of it. Got it to Dempsey. Handball to close. Handball back to Dempsey. Geelong in attack mode.
Dempsey going forward here, skews off the side of his boot. It might be all right for Conway, and the big man does put 2 hands up in the air and mark it. Just inside the centre square, quick hand pass to Cameron, long ball inside 50 in the Rowan direction. Miller had front position. He was able to hand pass it back. Myers tackling short to the ground. And a ball up 40 metres outside from Geelong's goal.
High octane footy. I think all players on the ground are hoping for the siren to blow and to reset at 3/4 time.
Still a few minutes left in the third term as the Cats lead by 3 points. Conway picks it out of the ruck, hand passes it away. It's Close who tries to pick it up, and then Pickett comes in. Hand pass towards Ralph Smith. And Richmond might be able to get out of a little bit of trouble here. It's looking for Lafau. Jack Henry outmuscles Lafau to the footy and takes the intercept mark for Geelong.
And another good night. Jack Henry turns it over here, kicked it straight to Pickett. Handball infield to Sonsi, got rid of it back to Pickett, runs through the AFL logo broadcast side, kicks up toward Ryan, over the back came Kolajasny, brought it down to himself on the bounce, handball to De Koning, back to Kolajasny, now to Cameron, hemmed in, Martin's got him, holding the ball.
Oh, he's stiff. Dusty doesn't lay a lot of tackles. When you get caught by Dusty, well, it's few and far between, but did well then.
When you get caught, he makes sure you know about it. Martin's got it 70 metres out from goal for Richmond at right half forward. Sends it to a dangerous spot. Ryan comes through, crashes the pack, brings it to the ground. Kolajasny's there. Shoots the handball to Zach Guthrie. Now to Jack Henry on the last line. Just evades the smother with the kick. It's a releasing ball out wide. Mullen can run onto it. He's dragged down. Ball back into dispute. Rowan has a play at it. Turns tackler. Cats just trying to surge it forward, but Richmond intercept. Here's Vlosten on the wing.
Vlosten hand passes it across to McIntosh. Left boot curling inboard. It's a good mark taken there by Rioli.
Dangerous.
But Rioli hung on to it and then he kicks out wide towards Bolter. So Richmond still going slowly here rather than pushing forward into attack and catching Geelong off guard. Bolter 70 metres out from goal. Long kick in towards the left forward pocket. Ryan was running in to try and take the mark. Couldn't. In comes Stewart in the right back pocket for Geelong. Clearing kick out of defence, and he's able to spot up Atkins, or Duncan rather, who easily takes a mark at right half back. Kick towards Dempsey, and he can go now. He takes a bounce, he sees the space ahead of him, and then he kicks towards Rowan. Rowan turns around and looks at what's ahead of him. He's got 3 players. It's a 3-on-2 in Geelong's favour. Stengel couldn't mark. It's the Tigers defenders winning out here. Desperate stuff.
Well done.
Gordon Miller.
Outstanding by Broad. 9 times out of 10, a player running back with the flight of the ball would give away a free kick. But he kept his eyes on the ball, didn't make too strong a contact, hit the ball on the way through, so outstanding defending.
Late goals have been the thing so far for the Cats in this game. Conway in the ruck, deep forward for Geelong. Bruins there, dragged down by Miller. Broad goes through the traffic. How did he get rid of it? Umpire said it was okay. 40 out from the Geelong goal. Dow. Dempsey now for the Cats, tumbles it back the other way. Bruin puts his head over it, then turns tackler. And we'll have a ball up. Inside forward 50, the Cats. They lead by 3. We've had 3 lead changes in this quarter. Geelong hit the front for the first time in the game earlier in the term. 32 minutes played. The Cats having kicked 6 goals so far and pressing for a 7. Floston's on the bottom of the pack. He's not coming away. And another ball up, still 30 out from the Geelong goal at the city end.
40 seconds to go to three-quarter time. Cannot concede one here, the Tigers.
And Curves taps it in the direction of the boundary line, where it'll go over and short, just following it over the line, which means it'll be a throw-in this time, 45 metres around from the Cats' goal.
Just watch Stengel. He's got loose a couple of times in those last forward 50 stoppages. Broad's going to him now, but keeps getting loose.
Richmond trying not to let another late goal through as they have in the last couple of quarters. Could be a chance here from Bowes, who hand passes the ball away. McIntosh there to clean up. It'll be ricocheted back here. Bolter's back there for Richmond. He can clean up the footy. It's a wide kick. Ralph Smith marks.
On the line, I reckon.
Millimetres in. That could easily have gone out of bounds and been a free kick for the Cats. Ralph Smith just holding on to it. Long kick out of defence, trying to clear it for these final few seconds. Kolajasny, though, punches it down. It's back in here. Myers with a quick dinky kick forward in the wrong direction. Didn't take the mark right on the siren of three-quarter time. But the Cats have the lead. The first time this evening, they took the lead by 3 points. It went back to Richmond, who took a lead by 3 points, and then a Cameron goal put them back ahead by that 3-point margin at three-quarter time. Geelong 11-5-71, Richmond 10-8-68. Goal kickers for Geelong, there's a few. It's Bruin, Cameron, Holmes, Bowes, Duncan, Hawkins, Neal and Guthrie with singles. Ollie Dempsey's got 3. And for the Tigers, it's Dustin Martin who's got a couple, Samson Ryan 2 as well, and so is McCulty Lafau, and singles to Campbell, Cumberland, Mansell and Baker.
So great third term. It ricocheted around the ball. It was pinball at times, but it was fast. It was furious. And the Cats fought their way back into it with a 6-goal 2 third term. Their second best third term of the year in terms of scoring. And Richmond were far from disgrace. 3 goals 1 in that quarter for the Tigers. But as Loz said, we've had 3 lead changes in that term, and it's the Cats by 3 at three-quarter time. 11-5-71 to 10-8-68. 0437 774 774 for your text. Pete's listening on Kangaroo Island. Beautiful part of the world in South Australia. Looking forward to a close finish. Thanks, Pete. Hannah and Will are yelling at the radio while driving 14 hours from Exmouth to Fremantle. A big West Australian road trip. They're yelling at us too. All caps, come on Geelong. And Elliot and Juanita, I absolutely love this one, doing our laundry in Leipzig, Germany, and listening to the call up the Tigers. So 0437 774 774. Let us know where you are taking this in. A terrific game, a big finish coming up. Geelong looking to avoid a 5th loss in a row. Richmond searching for its 2nd win of the season. Cats by 3 with a quarter to go. This is Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
Can you reach the buzzers, kids? Put them on boxes. Can't you? Higher.
Hard Quiz is back. Sort of. It's adult rules, but kid contestants.
Cute.
The kids are adorable, but Tom's style is deplorable.
What do you call a hard quiz kid giving a correct answer? A surprise.
All new Hard Quiz Kids.
I think we all need more screen time.
Start Saturday night, June 8 on ABC Family and ABC iView.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Baker, feigned a little handball, stepped through the stoppage and all the traffic. Now hands it off to Short. Short goes inside the forward 50. The kick will work. It falls onto the lap of Campbell. For Seth Campbell, impressive youngster. Can he convert here? It's a high kick and it's a straight kick. And Bowes has got Zach Guthrie, who snuck a long way down the ground. He goes eyes up, looks at the sticks and exploits them. Zach Guthrie sneaking down for the 4th goal of his season. Goal for goal since at the stoppage. Work inside the forward 50 to Bowes, who attacks at a pace and finishes with a touch of class. And here comes Geelong. Martin's got the set shot. He's kicked lots of important goals for Richmond. Many of them against the Cats. And that's another. Dusty's got 2. He's kicked 5 in the past 2 weeks. As he approaches game 300, there are no signs of slowing down. One already tonight for Tom Hawkins, kicked 2 in his record-breaking 356th game last week. He's on the runway from outside 50. It's a kick to a dangerous position, but won't have the carry. Neil was out, bashed toward the goal line. Dempsey! A poacher's chance as he sockers it off the ground. And Ollie Dempsey's equalled a career best with 3.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Here at Kinnear Park, Geelong 11-5-71. Richmond 10-8-68. A get-right game for the Cats, but it hasn't gone all their way. And Richmond are absolutely making them earn it. They are right in this ball game, this young, plucky Tigers team. Joel Peterson and Lauren Borden calling the action for you. Nathan Burke, Karen Peterson, your experts. Rory Campbell is down on the boundary. On the SMS, 0437 774 774. You can fire in a question to Kez or to Burkey. We've got a long post-game tonight, so if you're in the car and you're driving, you can send us a question. We'll address that in the post-game. A good point from Jacqueline in Maitland, South Australia. And Berkey and I are very lucky to be working alongside a couple of wonderful women tonight. Really enjoying the call tonight with 2 female commentators. They're doing a fabulous job. But I do hope for the day when we don't differentiate by gender. Go, everyone, and have a great call. Lovely sentiment, Jacqueline in Maitland. Couldn't agree more. And hopefully we hear far more of many women in our broadcast boxes right across the industry, right across the country, indeed, right across the world. And the competition for best listening location continues. Darren is listening in New York City. Early start, go Tigers. Thanks, Darren. Jamie's listening in Athens. Go Cats. Thanks, Jamie. And Raj is in England driving down the M5 to Bristol. Go Cats. So they're coming in from far and wide on 0437 774 774. And Chris Owen Bellreeve is walking the dog on picturesque Bellreeve Beach in Nipaluna, Hobart, taking the call in via the ABC Listen app. Loving the call and the topsy-turvy nature of late 3/4 in the battle of the felines. So thanks to everyone. 0437 774 774 for your text. And now the thoughts of our experts, Nathan Burke and Kez Peterson.
Before I get to that, Berkey, where would you rather be? New York, Athens or the UK?
I'm going Athens.
For the sun or?
Yeah, a bit warmer there at the minute.
Okay, yep, no, fair call. I'm picking New York. That was a great quarter of footy. I thought it was really high quality. Thought Richmond withstood the pressure that Geelong brought. However, Geelong did start to get on top, and it was some of the, not necessarily prime movers that you might have called it at half-time. It was Bowes, Holmes and Dempsey. They had 10, 9 and 7 disposals, and they each kicked a goal. They were the ones who really started to get on top for Geelong through the middle and allowed them to have +6 tackles, +5 inside 50s and +21 contested possessions in that third term. So it's no surprise why they started to get on top, but it wasn't through any, necessary structural changes or anything like that. It was just through grit and determination. For Richmond in this last quarter, I want to see them get front and centre. They're kicking long, and Lafau and Samson Ryan are making good contests inside their forward 50, but I'm keen to see their small forwards.
Who wins, Berkey?
Tigers.
Yes?
Geelong.
Well, we've got a quarter to find out. 3 points to lead, and the Tigers are in it up to their eyeballs. Out of the middle, Bowes with the clearance. Wide kick toward Dempsey, who's got 3 goals and equal career high. Off to Atkins. High kick inside the forward 50 for the Cats. Tigers' defence has been resolute tonight. Miller, handball off to Rioli to the run of Tom Brown. Kicks out wide, bouncing ball in front of Campbell. Put the skids on to keep it in, then got run down by De Koning. Ball was already out of play. And we'll have a throw in. We might check in downstairs with Rory Campbell. We had some rain earlier, Rory, but that looks to have cleared for the entirety of the second half.
Yeah, we haven't had any rain so far, nothing in that third quarter. It is still a little bit damp out there. I've been watching Caleb Smith, the Richmond substitute. He's absolutely champing at the bit. Probably no surprise he wants his first taste of AFL action, but he's been riding every passage of play. I reckon he probably feels like he's played a game already.
Well, hopefully he gets a chance. In this fourth quarter, Chris Scott pulls the substitute. Kick comes down, though, 2 half forward for Geelong. Close marks. Looks ahead of him. Not sure where to go, so just kicks it long to a pack. Top of the goal square, bounces behind Rowan and the rest of the pack. In comes Kolodjasny. Hand pass to Hawkins, right on the boundary. Goes for a really short hand pass to Kolodjasny. Somehow keeps that in. No, he doesn't. The umpire saw him just go over the line. Throw in, though, for Geelong. 10 metres around from their goal. Hot spot for them as they lead by 3 points after taking back that lead, or just getting the lead for the first time in the third quarter. Conway punches it away around, but it's a ruck free kick the umpire has seen, and he calls play on.
Well, fair enough too. It was a free kick in the ruck, but I think it was Stengel who hasn't had a lot of the footy tonight.
Stengel had a ping.
Oh, I'm just going to play on and have a shot, and so the umpire's gone, well, bad luck, mate, that's your opportunity.
So it was, not the greatest decision when obviously that would have been a kick from 30 metres out. And there'll be a score review as well.
13 possessions at 13% disposal efficiency for Stengel, so not a particularly great night. Probably just wants to get himself involved in the game, but probably the wrong decision on that occasion.
The umpire's call is out of bounds, or did it hit the behind post on the full? It's a bit of a half volley. It's simultaneous almost.
On ball.
Yep.
He couldn't see because he was poking around the wrong side of the post.
Does look like it's hit the padding, though, on the left behind post. But at about the same time that it hits the line. So they'll look at the grainy images to make a decision.
Camera's out of 1972.
And it's no score. They've decided that it hits the post and the ball will be thrown back in.
Generally the wrong camera in the wrong place, the wrong resolution. It's a great system, though. It's working beautifully, AFL. Well done. 11-5-71. Richmond 10-8-68. 3 minutes gone here in this final term. Boundary umpires had a bit of a mare trying to chuck it in, so he has another go at flinging it in the required distance. And then Curvis worked his way to the front. Broad just thumped it on. Thompson Dow up and down the mine shaft inside the defensive 50. Sit under that. Tui and Baker do exactly that. Ricochets off the chest and it goes out of play. The locations are getting more and more absurd on the SMS 0437 774 774, but a lot of them come with foreign numbers, so we can sort of have a look to see whether they are legit, and they look like they are. Ball chucked back in toward Hawkins at the stoppage. Stengel, high kick around the body. Rowan tried to charge it down, spilt to Hawkins, had a fumble, caught by two Tigers. Ball up 35 metres out from the Cats' goal at the Barwon River end.
So around the world tuning into a tight contest. Ball thrown up. Hawkins pushes it down. Running after it is Baker. He's tackled to ground. That should be holding the ball. It is. The umpire hot on that, and it'll be a free kick to Atkins to take it from 45 metres out, 45-degree angle.
Yeah, he just did a little bit of a 360 to try and evade the tackle, and that was what I think the umpire said, sorry, that's your prior opportunity.
Hand pass it to Bowes, who kicked the goal, but it'll have to come back to Atkins. So this time there's no advantage. After Stengel got the advantage when he probably didn't want to take it. Atkins doesn't want to take the kick, so he hand passes it to Holmes. He'll have a shot at the sticks now. It's a long ball. Drops a few metres short and then curves. He's able to punch it through for a minor score. Where the umpire's starting to make a little approach towards the field umpire. Nope, he's happy to call it a behind. So it's now 4 points, the margin in favour of Geelong. 5 minutes gone in the fourth term.
Stone to waltz back in from fullback and kick it out of bounds on the foot.
You worry about the Tigers' ability to actually win a close game. Do they know how to do it?
Holmes plays on from the free kick, jabs it into the pocket under the chest of Close. And Brad Close has marked a pace inside the boundary line, 35 metres out in the left forward pocket.
There's no excuse for that by the Richmond defenders, because 16 of their 18 players inside D50. You shouldn't be able to spot someone and take an uncontested mark in the pocket as Close was just able to.
He is a canny operator, Brad Close. He wheels around and from the boundary he shows them all his craft. A 40-metre snap from the fence underneath the scoreboard. And Brad Close gives Geelong their biggest lead of the game at 10 points. 12-6-78 to Richmond, 10-8-68. 6 minutes gone, final term. Now the challenge for the young Tigers. What have you got?
Yeah, good question, Joel. What have you got, young Tigers? I mentioned just before that shot for goal, do they know how to actually win a game? Because a lot of them haven't been in this position, certainly not this season. That's why Dusty Martin has now put himself in at the centre bounce. Whenever the Cats kick a goal, he tends to go in there just to try and settle the ship a little bit, which is great leadership there from Dusty. See how the Tigers respond here now they're behind.
Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Ball tossed up in the middle. Bowes kicks it forward with the clearance. Bounces inside 50. It's a battle between Vlauston and Dempsey. Ball will spill out the back. Bowes has made his way down in there to try and get the footy in the end. He does the tackling. Now, players are waiting for the umpire to blow his whistle, and it's holding the ball.
Unless there was an arm that we didn't see that sort of went out and groped the ball back underneath him, that was stiff.
Almost looked like Dow slipped a little bit too. He was sliding on the ground as he was tackled by Bowes. We'll have it 55 metres out from goal. Goes towards the left forward pocket. Nankervis brings it to ground. Kolajasny chasing after it, can pick it up cleanly. Hand pass it to Bruin, just shoves it on his boot. Boston steps back there, takes the mark. Although it's not 15, play on. Tom Brown kicks across the goals to the top of the 50. Campbell's there, and he can take a steadying mark for the Tigers.
Oh, he doesn't have a lot on. He chips it short to Bolter, and that's whacked away from him by Cameron. And that draws the applause from the fans in the Brownlow stand.
That's the sort of decisions that are going to hurt the Tigers. Young fellas, ball in hand. Do I just kick it to a senior bloke even though he's got someone on him, or do I wait for a better target?
It's shown on the big screen in the stands. Watching on, of course, suspended tonight. Boundary umpire having a little bit of trouble getting either he or someone down there to retrieve the ball.
Stuck between the fence and the signage.
Not ideal. Someone who's just bananaed the spare footy and almost clipped the boundary umpire on the back of the head. He's earned his bickies though. He's got the footy. And he was ready to toss it back in. Caleb Smith is antsy on the bench for the Tigers. The first game are waiting for his chance as the sub. Richmond, Geelong used theirs in the second term. Ollie Henry out of the game. Rowan in at the stoppage. Holmes hooks it around the body. This is to a hot spot. Stengel there, keeps it in front of himself. Tigers defence does well. Rioli to Bolter, high, wide, out on the full. Same spot. This one doesn't get jammed in between the fences. Tui will take it for the Cats.
That's 6-zip inside 50s to start this fourth term. Richmond just need to get their hands on the ball and just control possession for a couple of minutes, see if they can get some ascendancy back in the game.
Tui this time to the right forward pocket. Dempsey chasing after it, just bounces inside before going over the boundary line for a throw-in. 10 metres around from Geelong goal. They've got a 10-point lead, the biggest of this evening after Richmond held sway for the first half. Ball to be tossed in 30 metres out from Geelong's goal. Nankervis chases after it and just pushes it towards Pickett. He's tackled by Dempsey and will have a ball up this time. 25 metres out from Geelong's goal. Umpire quickly gets play underway. Nankervis with a fist punches it towards the boundary line. They might go up for insufficient intent here. The umpire says no, that's a throw-in. So 50 metres out now from Geelong's goal. They're leading by 10 points and we'll have a throw-in. Nearly 10 minutes played in the fourth quarter.
Richmond led by 29 points at the 21-minute mark of the second term. A 39-point swing in the game from then to now. Cats have kicked 7 goals to 3 since half-time, and they kicked 2 in a hurry right before half-time at the stoppage. Bruin to close. They can't keep it in, and it's out at the junction, the 50 and the boundary. We've got listeners in Matilda Bay in WA, Carnarvon, Kununurra, outside Pimba, up near Woomera in northern South Australia. Hayden is listening from the Sequela Gold Mine in the Ivory Coast in West Africa. Good on you, Hayden.
He wins.
Max listening in Budapest, Hungary as well. So they're coming in from everywhere, enjoying the footy tonight on ABC Sport. Cats with the ascendancy at the moment. Close gives to Bowes, edge of the 50 in the boundary. Kicks to full forward off Bolter. That's a terrific defensive mark for Richmond. Floating back in front of the pack. An awkward exit though. Close has pinched it. Hands it off. Hawkins knows how to finish. .16 Geelong lead. It's going to be awfully difficult from here for the Tigers. 13-6-84 to Richmond 10-8-68. Tom Hawkins' second goal, 11 gone in the final term.
A bit rinse and repeat for Geelong. That was a great finish by Hawkins, but this is exactly the same as what happened last week against the Giants. Last week they were plus 19 in the last quarter for inside 50s, but they just weren't able to get any dominance on the scoreboard. And obviously the Giants run away with the game, but they're starting to do the same here against Richmond. They're now 8 zip inside forward 50s. The difference tonight being that they've already had 3 scoring shots from those 8 inside 50s. So for Richmond, they need to get on top in this clearance. They're starting to get smashed around the ball. They need to get possession and be able to drive forward.
So the Tigers had made their sub as well with Pickett, the one sitting on the bench.
Get down to Rory Campbell in a moment to confirm as the ball's thrown up. It's Atkins, chases after it. Dow can pick it up for the Tigers. Hand pass to Ralph Smith. They desperately need a goal here. Kick goes inside 50. Chopped off though by Kolajasny.
Missed a chance then, had a free player inside 50.
Kolajasny goes towards Bruin. It's punched over the boundary line by Ralph Smith, which gives us a chance to go down to Rory Campbell and see if there's any sub that's been activated.
Yeah, Marlon Pickett came off a short time ago. He was pointing to his calf or his Achilles, and the doctor was paying that some attention. He's moved to the back step of the bench, and Caleb Smith looks like he's about to come on and make his AFL debut. Can he give the title to the free?
Thanks, Rory. It's going to be good to see Smith out there on debut for the Tigers at the stoppage. Chance for Sonsi, picked it up by hand to Dow, short a fumble in the middle of the ground now. Graham now to Cumberland. It's just all becoming more difficult for Richmond all of a sudden. Floston has a fumble as well. The Cats' pressure's ramped up. Myers, he's fighting for it. So too is Dempsey. Rowan's there, puts his head down, leans into the tackle on the AFL logo broadcast side. And Atkins brings it to a stop. So just on Caleb Smith, first gamer for Richmond, pick 45 in the 2022 draft. He didn't play under 18s for WA at state level. He really burst onto the scene with his Colts form at East Freo late in that season. He was a bolter in the draft. He had some injury concerns last year, so he gets his first chance tonight here in this last quarter, and he's a bit of a dasher. Can he provide Richmond the spark? Bolter took a good defensive mark, chips it inside the defensive 50 where Broad's got it. Cats by 16 points, having trailed by 29 late in the second term. We're 13 through the last.
Adam Muzek coaching from the bench. Didn't waste any time when Pickett came off a little injured to put Smith into the action.
That's what a good manager does, Loz.
I'm still thinking about my EPL sides.
All right.
The short right back pocket kicks it out of bounds on the full, and that's something we didn't see a lot from Richmond in the first 3 quarters. Now they're under pressure. They're kicking it out of bounds on the full more often than they have.
That and fumbling. They're doing a lot of that this quarter.
Geelong will go inside 50 again. It's Bolter that stands up and takes a mark.
Oh, no.
For the Tigers, he might have turned this over. Was looking for Ralph Smith Tui. Enough to get a fist in there. And well done by him. It means that ball gets locked inside 50 for Richmond. For the Geelong Cats, rather, leading by 16 points.
Walter's doing an outstanding job of marking the foot. He's taken 3 intercept marks and it's gone in, but he's only maintained possession on one of them.
I reckon Tom Stewart and Noah Cumberland have collided off the footy. Stewart's a little bit groggy in the centre of the ground. The stoppage, Stengel, beautiful hands to Hawkins, to Close, who runs the behind line, got dragged down and across. Couldn't get boot to ball. Minor score. And it makes the Cats lead 17 points, 13-7-85 to 10-8-68. Joel Peterson with you on ABC Sport. Nathan Burke, Kes Peterson, Rory Campbell and Warren Borden.
Boston with the kicking duties, out of defensive 50. Good kick towards Baker. Easily hits him onto the chest. He just chips it towards Mansell. And the Tigers aren't going quickly here. They're trailing by 17 points though. So need to get a move on if they can try and get closer to Geelong. Kick comes down. Lafau again got hands onto it. It's Seth Campbell at the back who can pick the ball up. He's tackled and will be penalised for that.
He just didn't have the awareness, the young fella, of what was around him. Jeremy Cameron, good run-down tackle.
Kicks back to Jack Henry. Deep in defence for Geelong. Chips it to Kolajasny. He'll swing proceedings to the broadcast side of the ground. Good kick towards Dempsey. Hand passes to Atkins. Pinpoint pass to Bruin. And Geelong in control of the game, leading by 17 points. 15 minutes played in the fourth quarter.
Bruin calls for some action. He got Smith up off the ground. That's a rude welcome for the first gamer. And he chipped it short to Close. Close has got Guthrie peeling off behind. Provides the overlap run. Drives it inside the forward 50. Rowan the target. Good mark from Ryan, who's had a sticky pair of hands tonight. Intercepts defensively for the Tigers.
Yeah, there's just nothing happening here for the Tigers. They're all standing around, pointing, waving. They've just really lost their way in terms of moving the footy.
Kicks it to a 1-on-4 in the end. Mansell made something of it. Sonsi was out the back, paddled it to himself once, twice, thrice, can't collect. Mansell had it knocked away from him by Bruin in front of the interchange gates. Little handball flicked a little bit too hot for Zach Guthrie for the Cats. Graham's there for Richmond. He's caught. And we'll have holding the ball, a ball up, I should say. Holding the ball, the word of the weekend on the AFL logo. Broadcast side, Cats by 17. We've played 17 in the last.
So Geelong haven't lost 5 in a row since 2001. Looks like they'll avoid that at the moment as Dempsey hand passes across to Atkins. His hand pass close to the boundary line, but it was close enough to Neil that the umpire will have a throw in. 55 metres out from Geelong's goal.
The Tigers lost. They haven't won here since 2006. They haven't played here since 2017. That one win is the only game they have won here since 1990.
Jeez, it's 32 years.
Yep.
More.
I was minus 3.
Well, that's a good way to put it, Joel. We now know your age. As Bose kicks it in.
5.
You were 5, Becky, were you, in 1990?
No.
You probably got
I was
5
playing
seasons in.
in 1987.
It's because you look young, Berkey.
Young at heart.
Only as young as the person you feel.
Ball thrown in now. 25 metres out from Geelong's goal. It's Conway and Nankervis. Both get a hand to it. Bounces up. Myers doing the tackling. As is Bose on short. And we'll have another ball up 25 metres out from goal. So Geelong with a nice lead at the moment, trying to hold on to that. Stengel can pick it off. Hand pass to Dempsey right on the curve of the boundary. Keeps it in with a hand pass to Bose. Gets it back to Dempsey. Hand pass to Rowan. Not sure what to do. Can hand pass it to Myers. He dropped it onto his knee. And it's Richmond that'll emerge with the footy here and be able to kick it to the top of the 50.
Oh, it would have been a wonderful team goal from the Cats. Dempsey again so creative in that forward pocket. Campbell's got it at half back for the Tigers. Awkward pick. Made Graham work for it. Mullins camped over the top of it. So too McIntosh. Graham gets it away for Richmond. Handball to Baker. Now to Campbell. Accosted by the opposite number 44. Toe pokes it inboard. Cumberland's grabbed by Stewart. Dragged to the turf. How does the umpire see it? Ball up.
They've only had the one inside 50 this quarter to 11 for the Cats. So it's one of the Cats aren't further in front, to be honest.
Centre wing out of sight of the ground. 19 minutes gone. It's all stopped for Richmond. It's been a valiant effort for them this evening. Certainly nothing there supporters can be too displeased about tonight. Long kick up the line from Martin. Looking for Lafau. Duncan through the tackle of Cumberland. Back to Stewart. To Guthrie. To Holmes. Drives it inside the 50 to Neil. Neil's got Stengel out the back. Kick just needs to find him, and it does. Top of the goal square for Tyson Stengel. Hasn't kicked one tonight. He's about to make amends for that in 15 seconds.
It's a thing of beauty, isn't it? The Geelong machine, when they do intercept off the back and ignite that run and carry through the middle, and Holmes is often the one who's on the end of it. He's just such a clean user of the footy, and there's just nothing the Richmond defenders can do about that when they get on the move.
It's a quiet night for Tyson Stengel. Hasn't had it go all his own way, but he is never far out of the action. He thumps it into the stand at the river end. And he makes certain of a Geelong victory. And that they won't lose 5 in a row. 14-7-91 to Richmond, 10-8-68. Time on in the final term. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. You're with Nathan Burke and Kes Peterson.
A couple of glaring things from the start of the game to the end of the game. The start of the game, when the ball hit the ground, Richmond had the extra numbers there. They were winning all the ground balls. When Geelong picked the footy up, couldn't find a free play, certainly couldn't use the corridor. But as the game's worn on, Richmond got a little bit more tired. Geelong have had the extra numbers around the ball, and most importantly, being able to bring the ball back through the corridor when they're entering their inside 50, and it just makes such a difference. And I think the Cats have tried to do it, but the Tigers haven't been able to maintain that rage.
Nearly went again here through Holmes. He was pinned for holding the ball. Umpire won't call advantage. He'll bring it back to Liam Baker. He's got 25 disposals and looks absolutely spent out there after the last goal, hands on knees. But he's got his 26th touch. Kicks out wide towards short. He'll be able to send Richmond inside 50. for a rare entry this quarter. Cumberland's there. He's swung around, dispossessed of the footy. Umpire blows his whistle, and Cumberland will be pinned for that.
A bit harsh, but...
So it'll be a free kick going the way of Richmond in the left back pocket. Let's head down to Rory Campbell on the boundary.
After that collision involving Tom Stewart a little earlier, the Geelong doctors headed out to check on him. They came off, checked over some vision. They've gone out and asked him to come off after a pretty animated discussion. They're having a chat with him on the bench at the moment.
Good to see the process is working for the Cats. Bolter to McIntosh. Deep entry. Oh, the foul with a spring. Couldn't pull it in. And O'Connor's just pushed across the goal line for a minor score. And there's some collateral damage inside forward 50 for the Tigers here. Lafau's down, clutching his right knee. De Koning's down. And Jake Kolajasny's down. So Tom Stewart came off with red paint all up his right side. Jake Kolajasny's got the green grass all across his back. De Koning's up and he's walking away. But Lafau really looks like the instrument of main concern here.
Yeah, when he came down, his right leg hit the ground and he just hyperextended it.
Yeah.
So it just means that it bent in the wrong direction.
Poor Sam De Koning will have a nasty egg on the back of his bonds after he copped a knee flush from McKelty Lafau. He's been a real live wire up front for Richmond. First time I've seen him live this year, and I've been super impressed, Berkey. He just makes things happen.
Absolutely, he does. He just leaps at everything and just hardly ever outmarked at all. You'd love to play with him as a small forward because you know that he's going to bring the ball down the ground. And the good news, he's up and he's testing out that leg. He's jumping up and down. It was a fairly significant hyperextension. But the good news is that hyperextensions don't always end up in something bad happening to your knee. It's more of a twisting action that hurts the knee the most. So he's walking off unaccompanied, which is great news.
So the Cats will drive it outside defensive 50. Mullen springs up to take the mark, and they're away once more.
Hand passes it to Guthrie. He's got Dempsey who can mark top of the 50. It's exactly what he does. Then just goes with a short kick inside 50 to Neil. Holds on to the mark and tells his teammates he's going to take the time to kick this one.
The transition, Kes, from offence to defence, which the Tigers were so good at in that first half, has just really fallen away. So when they turn the footy over, they just haven't been able to close that distance between them and their Cat opponent.
So Shannon Neal to kick from 40 metres out, 45-degree angle towards the players' stand end. It starts left, but it comes back. That's a goal for Neal. That's his second for the night. And that ices the game for Geelong. The Cats lead out to 28 points. Geelong 15-7, 97. Richmond 10-9, 69. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. The thoughts of your experts, Nathan Burke and Karen Peterson.
Yeah, the cream's starting to rise to the top, it's well and truly risen to the top, hasn't it? Just really managed to get well and truly on top in almost every area of the game in this last term. And in particular, Berkey, you took the words out of my mouth, that transition and how quickly they were able to transition from their back half to their forward half. How clean they were with possession. And again, it was Ollie Dempsey who's had a really great game tonight. He was really the one in that third term that ignited the Cats and has really sort of dragged his team on his back tonight, which is a great sign from a young kid in a really what is a really experienced team.
He's a real goer, Ollie Dempsey. Good game last week and another here from the restart. Free kick coming to the Cats. So it is all coming up Geelong at this stage of the contest. Bose handball to Duncan. Didn't know it was coming. Didn't faze him. He grabbed it. Lightning hands to Cameron. Cameron on the left boot sends it to full forward. Neil extends, can't mark. Dempsey's there looking for a fourth. Hawkins keeps it in front of himself. 20 out from the Cats' goal. Dempsey goes again. Flicks it out to Bruin. Bruin out to Atkins. Atkins out wide to Duncan. Duncan finds Mullen. And Asheem Mullen, the Irishman, in game number 12, can line up from 45 metres out, having not kicked a goal at the top level of our Aussie rules game.
Do you reckon he'll get the same treatment that Zach Tui does if he kicks a goal? The Irish song played around the stadium?
Let's hope so. He was a highly touted recruit, Asheem Mullen. And I think the only treatment he'll get for that around the stadium would be the game show. Wow. That's out of bounds on the full for Mullen. Cats by 28. Let's go downstairs to Rory.
Yeah, guys, Jake Kolodjasny came off a short time ago with some claret coming from the nose, probably re-injured that knock he copped a little earlier in the game. Tom Stewart's still on the bench. For the Tigers, Lafau has gone down to the change rooms with the doctor.
Bit of carnage down there, thanks Rory. Ball comes out, it'll be Geelong though, getting it back in there. Via Dempsey, hand passed it inside 50. Free kick going the way of the Cats as well. So Holmes will have it on the paint of 50. Dusty Martin standing the mark. And Geelong just pressing throughout this fourth term.
If you're the trainer that fixed Jake Kolodjasny's nose, you must just look at him with 5 minutes left and go, mate, I'm not doing that again.
Just bench him.
Just pack it up, Jake.
Nothing one a bit wrong with a crooked nose, Joel. Keep it like it, I reckon. Character.
So Holmes, 50 metres out from the boundary. It's to the near side. And just a minor score. That margin now 29 points for Geelong. It's 29 points for Richmond at the 20-minute mark of the second quarter. So things have turned around completely at Kardinia Park tonight.
58-point swing in the game since half-time. It's been all the Cats with 10 goals to 3. Richmond hasn't scored in this term. They haven't scored since the 22-minute mark of the third. Joel Peterson, Lauren Borden with you on ABC Sport. Nathan Burke, Kez Peterson and Rory Campbell with you. Till 11 o'clock Eastern time, so an extended post-game tonight. We'll hear from the victors certainly, and plenty of talk in footy through the week. 0437 774 774 if you've got a question for Kez or Berkey in the post-match. We'll hit up any of those issues. Tigers worked it to the wing, but it's coming back through the Cats. Guthrie, neat kick in field to Conway, to Cameron, to O'Connor. Loops the hand pass back to Cameron. Enough. Just dumps it out wide to Duncan. Slips the tackle, 55 from home. Darts the kick inside the forward 50. Baker put his head over it. Hawkins grabbed him in the tackle. Spilt to Bruin. Spilt to Close. He goes to ground. Tigers try to clear the defensive lines. Martin provides a helping hand off to Baker. That's absolutely right, Berkey. There's no one to go to for Richmond. And the kick could only go as far as O'Connor underneath the premiership stands on the Hickey stand side.
The pressure from Geelong has just gone through the roof, and quite simply the Tigers haven't been able to handle that pressure. They've lost their shape, they've lost their poise. They just can't find a free player and get the ball inside 50.
O'Connor content to go back to Jack Henry, who moved the ball through Mullen and Duncan towards the centre of the ground to Bowes. So Bowes, smack bang in the centre of Kardinia Park, decides to just thump the ball inside 50. Nankervis has the mark for Richmond. So at times that Richmond defence has stood up better than it has in recent weeks, particularly in a couple of those big losses against Brisbane and the Western Bulldogs. This kick goes out to the right back pocket towards McIntosh, and he'll chip it to Tom Brown, who's sitting at the top of the 50 for Geelong, or the top of Geelong's attacking 50. He goes with a long kick out wide towards Sonzi, and then O'Connor was there to steal it off him, but very close to these boundary lines here in front of the Hickey stand. Ball goes out. We'll have a throw in at centre wing. It's Geelong ahead by 29.
Muzay on the bench in that long puffer jacket. Looked like a team that was sort of sitting in the Champions League spots earlier in the game, was in the Premier League, and now he might have just fallen into the drop zone, and he's looking a little bit more concerned. Kick of the clearance for Richmond, marked by De Koning. The Cats will come back through the middle of the ground. Guthrie fans his kick out wide to Holmes. He's got a game-high 28 disposals. His 29th goes inside the forward 50 looking for Hawkins. Dempsey was never going to be able to run onto that on this greasy turf. It skids out of play. It'll be thrown in 40 metres around from the Geelong goal.
He's had a good game, Holmes. He's probably one of the few Cats that's put in a good fourth-quarter effort.
2 minutes remaining here at Kardinia Park. Tigers led by 29 points late in this first half. Stengel walters his magic at the stoppage. His kick is bashed through by Miller on the last line for a rush behind to make it 5 points. Tigers led by 13 at quarter time, 16 at half time. Geelong kicked 6 goals in that third turn to lead by 3 at three-quarter time, and it's been all the Cats here in the last. They lead by 30.
So it's quickly moved out of defence, and then McIntosh shoves it on his boot from right half back to left half back to Broad. He was kicking towards Nankervis, went over his head, so Conway, the opposing ruck, could pick it up, hand pass to Bruin, and he'll kick to right half forward, where Bowes marks. Bowes goes inside 50, and Neil can mark for Geelong.
Question for you guys. Obviously, big Tommy Hawkins can't go on forever, and the end is in sight. Is this man the heir apparent? Is he going to be the next full forward down there for the Cats, lining up for his third tonight? He's a big lump of a lad and a pretty straight kick.
Well, Chris Scott did mention that he wanted him to be in the side. He wanted to fit him in there with Cameron and Hawkins to give him those opportunities and the experience. So far tonight, he's got 2. For a late one, he skews that off the boot. That's not good for the resume. And they'll go out of bounds on the full. So no score. It'll be a Richmond free, 30 points the margin in favour of Geelong.
Right smile from Patrick Dangerfield on the big screen, who we're pretty sure was doing a running session out on the St Mary's ground on the way into the game tonight, Kez.
Yeah, surrounded by a lot of supporters who would have been having a very keen watch on what their skipper was doing and making every assumption about how far away he is because he was running at a particular speed that they thought was appropriate. So
he's close. They might take the cautious approach with Sydney next week and then the bye, the Cats. So whether they roll him out for Sydney or put him under cotton wool until the bye, it remains to be seen. Tigers try and chain it through the middle of the ground. Short's kick up toward half forward was knocked away, and some great defensive work from Brad Close. They continue to work hard in this game, Richmond. Geelong, I should say.
I can't see a world where Dangerfield plays next week. It makes not a lot of sense given that he's already done 2 hamstrings this year and re-injured on the way back in. I think they'll take the cautious approach with him.
Ball tossed back in. Baker at the stoppage. Hands it away to Short, to Rioli. Kicks to centre half forward. He was looking for Campbell. Sprung up. Couldn't mark. Holmes in defence for the Cats. Run down by Campbell. Umpire says ball up. 30-point lead to Geelong. They trailed by 29 points late in the second term. They've run away with it here in the second half. Having lost 4 in a row, it's a get-right game for the Cats. They withstand a Richmond challenge. And Geelong returns to the winners list, defeating the Tigers by 30.
We are Geelong, the greatest team of all. We are Geelong, we're always on the ball. We play the game as it should be played, at home or far away. Our banners fly high from dawn to dawn, down at Cardinia Park.
It was Richmond who burst out of the blocks. They drove down the highway. They brought the tackle truck with them. It was pressure everywhere early from Richmond. They kicked 4 goals in that opening term, 1 within 20 seconds. They had the lead at 29 at the 21-minute mark of the second term, and the Cats fans were very worried. But a big second half, 10 goals to 3 from Geelong, and they register their 8th win of the season.
We are Geelong, the greatest team of all. We are Geelong, we're always on the ball. We play the game as it should be played, at home or far away. Our banners fly high from dawn to dawn, down at Cardinia
Park. 15-9, 99 to 10-9, 69, the final score. Geelong 30-point winners over a gallant Richmond, who hopefully they haven't seen their injury toll grow any further tonight. The Cats lost Ollie Henry in the first half, subbed out, so remains to be seen whether he comes up next week to play the Swans before the Cats head to the bye. For Richmond, they've got Adelaide and Hawthorn away and home before they head to the week off. Equal career best 3 goals for Ollie Dempsey tonight for Geelong. He was a highlight up front. All of them came from real opportunist moments. 2 in the second, 1 in the third. Shannon Neal kicked 2 for the Cats. 2 for Tom Hawkins as well. Goals to Bruin, to Cameron, to Holmes, to Bowes, to Stengel, to Duncan, to Guthrie and to Close in a long list of Geelong goal kickers. For Richmond, 2 in the first term to McKelty Lafau, including the first goal after 21 seconds in the ball game. A couple to Samson Ryan and a couple to Dustin Martin. He kicked 1 in the third term that handed Richmond a 10-point lead, but it was all Geelong from there. Singles to Liam Baker, to Ryan Mansell, to Noah Cumberland and to Seth Campbell. We're with you for about another 40 minutes this evening here on ABC Sport. 0437 774 774 with any questions for our experts Nathan Burke and Kez Peterson. We weren't quite sure what to expect when we came down here today. Kez and Burkey, what we got was a very, very good game, and in the end, Geelong a little bit too strong in the finish.
I think everyone here, including the coaching staff, the players and all the supporters, would just take a collective relief breath, particularly after that first half. I think the result was what we all expected, but the method to get there was probably not quite what we had predicted when we came down the highway to watch this game. So for the second week in a row, Richmond have been, I don't want to call them brave because I'm not sure that's the right word, but they've put up a really good fight. They were really good early, particularly around the ball. They were on top in every statistical category that you'd want. Their pressure was immense, and they really put Geelong on the back foot. But as we spoke about at quarter time, the challenge for Richmond was going to be, could they sustain that for the full 4 quarters? And the answer was no. And partly that was due to fatigue and skill execution, or poor skill execution. But a lot of the credit has to be given to Geelong, who were just able to really wrestle the momentum back in their direction. And it was done through grit. It wasn't through some spectacular strategy change or positional change or anything like that. It was just continuing to go after the things that they would like to go after. And don't get me wrong, there's still some concerns. The way that they showed up in that first term is not going to get it done, particularly next week when they go up to Sydney. If they put out a performance like they did in that first probably quarter and a half, they'll get blown off the park by the Swans up there, and there's not going to be much of a chance for them to get back into the game the way that they were able to do tonight. So I think they were probably lucky that their opponent tonight was a really incredibly undermanned opposition in Richmond, who, off the back of a good performance last week, was able to do it again, but just unable to sustain it for the full 4 quarters, Berkey.
Yeah, well done by the Tigers. The question mark was how long can they keep that pressure up? Because, in effect, it was really their pressure that was keeping them in the game. It wasn't, outstanding ball movement and skill that Geelong couldn't match. It was just the immense pressure. And, as you know, with a young side, missing their 4 prime movers in Hopper, Taranto, Prester and Shai Bolton, it was always going to be tough. And in the end, it was the Cats probably just their maturity, playing at home, being able to move the ball a little bit freer, a little bit of extra skill that got them across the line. A 30-point win. If I'm Chris Scott, I'm not overly wrapped with that, to be totally honest. They succumbed to the pressure in that first half especially. Their best players still didn't play great games, and if you look at it, Hawkins kicked his 2, which is okay. Guy Myers had an ordinary night. He had 12 possessions, 8 kicks, going at 25%. Close, 5 kicks, 10 handballs at 60%. Jeremy Cameron ended up with 16 and a goal, but a lot of those were just sort of the old 1-2 handballs around the back that he was getting back, which really didn't have a great effect on the game. Stengel got a few late, but he only went at 18% kicking efficiency, so he butchered the ball a fair bit. So there's still a lot of improvement. I think you're spot on there, Kez, when you say if they bring that game style, that sort of intensity to Sydney next week, they've no chance at beating the Swans. So whether they just thought, you know what, we're playing against the Tigers, we're going to win this one, we just need to go out there and play 4 quarters and we'll win. And they got one eye ahead to Sydney already and thinking about, hey, that's going to be a big game, we're going to get up for that one and we're going to be great for that one. That might have been the case. That happens to teams sometimes, but tonight it was just the fact that they were a little bit more mature bodies than the Tigers.
If you're Adam Uze, there's a lot of positives to take out of 2 good performances in a row, albeit losses, but a better performance against Essendon last week after being smashed in the few weeks before that. They show up against Essendon last week. Then they have a couple of real prime movers go out tonight, and straight away you knew when they rolled up that they were really on tonight, Richmond. They must be really proud of that effort.
Yeah, my really big worry for the Tigers probably about a month ago or even 3 weeks ago was that they recognised that they're not going to make the finals, and that they were going to play out the rest of the season with a whole bunch of players who are running around going, you know what, if I get my 25, 30 touches, I'll get a game next week. And they're going to be selfish, and they were just going to look after themselves, and it was going to be really, really ugly. To Adam Uze's credit, he's turned that around and he's said, right, if you want to play in this side, you've got to bring immense pressure. And that's the only way that we're going to be competitive. You've got to hunt the opposition. You've got to run, pressure. And they did that in the first half. They just weren't mature enough to do it for the whole 4 quarters. So the fact that Uze has pulled them out of that selfishness, get 25, get a game, to, I'm going to really hunt the opposition and put pressure on them, that's all credit to his coaching. So I think that's a big tick.
Yeah, it's a big challenge to get a team up that has been beaten badly, but Adam Uze's been able to do that with Richmond. They just couldn't sustain it tonight. They go down by 30 points, 10-9-69 to Geelong, 15-9-99. They're pretty happy in the Cats' rooms. That's where we find Rory Campbell.
Yeah, they've just walked in, guys. They're just forming up into the circle now. Mitch Duncan walked in with his little tacker. They're just about to sing the song. Jeremy Cameron, the last one, I'll let them take it away.
Play the game as it should be played. Hey, at home or far away. Just fight hard. It comes on to that. That in the park.
Might need a gusto check on the song, I think, Kez. It was medium to low.
Well, they're a team that's won 1 game in the last 5, so and a competition tonight that, they should have rolled over the top of them, and they did. So I'm okay with the level of gusto there.
Appropriate.
It's all business. I don't think they'll be pulling the cork out of a bottle of red down there tonight, as they have done in the past. But I think that's an all business, and I think that they would be aware that, hey, yeah, we got the result tonight, but geez, we weren't on our best behaviour. So I think that'll be quickly get in the ice bath, boys, and get ready for next week.
0437 774 774. If you have a question for Berkey or for Kez, we're with you for about another 35 minutes before we send you in your separate ways. Big couple of days of sport coming up too. Of course, State of Origin this week. T20 World Cup starts tomorrow. USA, Canada. The Aussies in action on Thursday. You can catch all of that on the ABC Listen app. Matildas and China again on Monday. You can get that on the ABC Listen app as well. Rich from Ocean Grove, who was a great contributor on the text line last week. Question for the experts. Was that the best game Ollie Dempsey has played for Geelong? Future star.
Look, he was very, very good tonight, but I've seen him actually play some really good ones. I think the first game maybe of the year.
He got a Rising Star nomination for that when he kicked the 3 goals down here against St Kilda.
Yeah, first game down here of the year. We were sort of saying, hey, young fella with his blonde hair and headband and bright pink boots, is he getting ahead of himself? And but he wasn't. He was fantastic. So, no, he's been fairly consistent for a young fella, and it's great to see.
I do laugh at Berkey laughing at the pink boots and the blonde hair. Different times, Berkey.
Different times. You used to have to earn them back in the day. at least 120 games.
They didn't exist back in the day.
No, they didn't.
You don't get away with wearing them in the back line.
No, absolutely not. Let's head into the Geelong rooms. Rory Campbell.
Guys, I'm joined by Mitch Duncan, one of the best in the Cats win tonight. Mitch, 4 games on the trot without a win. Nice to be back on the winners list.
It is. It's always nice to be on the winners list. Had to work hard, but I think it makes it all the better.
We just saw you walk into the rooms here with a little tacker. Didn't take them into the team song there. Who was that you had with you?
That's my boy Ollie. He's my oldest boy. No, probably the noise probably gets to him, but he's doing well to be awake at this time.
Talking through the week, Chris Scott spoke about how 4 losses in a row isn't necessarily a big part of what you guys do, but it is something interesting given it's the first time it's happened under his coaching tenure here. Were you guys aware of it, and was it something that was in any way motivational?
It's not motivational, but it definitely gets you thinking a little bit. Albeit those, bar the Gold Coast loss, those losses were by a goal pretty much, combined 20 points or something like that. So it means we're in the game, but it was just 1 quarter letting us down. We obviously can't do that against good teams and against any teams because the competition is what feels so even. So, you've got to get the game played the way you want to. I think to win games of footy, or at least keep you in games of footy for 4 quarters.
I guess you got a taste of that tonight up against Richmond, who have been really struggling, and they really took it up to you.
They did. Their pressure was hot early. There's no doubt about that. We probably overused the ball a little bit, didn't adjust to conditions, and probably lucky they missed a few easy goals early and kept us in the game. But I think once the game opened up a little bit and we were able to control the ball, keep the ball in our forward half, which every team tries to do, paid dividends for us.
I'll throw it over to the team upstairs. We've got Joel Peterson, Lauren Borden, Nathan Burke and Karen Peterson.
G'day, Mitch. Nathan Burke here. Congratulations getting back on the winners list. We were sort of tossing around up here and we were sort of saying that the big fella up front can't go on forever as much as he probably likes to. Neil came in and kicked the couple tonight. Is he on your list sort of like a bit of an heir apparent in that area, or is there somebody else we should also be looking at?
No, definitely. He's got great potential. Scratch. I think his athleticism is, a point of difference for a key forward. He's got a great set shot. Jumps to the ball at the highest point. He's a prototype forward that most clubs want on their list. So we're fortunate to have that. Obviously, we've had Big Hawkey for a long time, who plays completely different. But there's someone there waiting in the wings when Tom does decide to farm full time. It's great to see him playing good footy and creating a contest for us up forward and getting our little guys in the game like Tyson, Closey and Grind. They're such a hard forward line to play against. So, he's doing well.
Mitch, congratulations on the win tonight. It's Karen Peterson up here. I wanted to ask you just about the midfield that you guys have got. There's been a bit of pressure through the media and maybe some external noise that's come to the club. Just around the midfield performance over the last couple of weeks, and tonight when it turned in that third term in particular, it was Holmes, Bowes and Bruin. Can you just maybe chat through some of the mentality of those three guys and how they've been able to work through what might be the external noise and be able to turn it around and put on a good performance tonight?
Yeah, I thought Tom Atkins led the charge early, kept us in it around the footy, but then I thought Bowes's second half, just his power out of stoppage and got the ball going forward was immense. So, they've been working extremely hard. We all have. We do from the start of pre-season all the way through. So, we got areas to learn, but I don't think our midfield were necessarily flying early either. We're not a high clearance team, but we're potent when we get through. So, everyone's got different strengths, and we're continuing to work on that. We've obviously got Cam Guthrie and Paddy to come back in at some stage when they're fit and ready to go. So there's we've got great depth there, and as long as they're doing their best and working hard, that's all we can ask from them, and everyone around them can keep helping them.
And just a word on Dempsey. He was outstanding tonight up forward again. He really ignited you guys in that third term. Probably early in the game, he was the one who put the team on his back and said, "Follow me, boys." Berkey's not happy with his pink boots, but can you just give us a word on his preparation? And we were just chatting about his consistency since the start of the season.
Yeah, it's good. It's great. It's great to see his development. He works extremely hard, especially in the off-season and pre-season, one of our better runners. And he's obviously got, a few tricks. He's great in the air. And as we saw tonight, I think he kicked those two snaps. I think it was late in the second to really give us a little bit of momentum. Coming into the break and then finished off the game extremely well. He's a great young kid. Not sure about the pink boots, but blonde hair, pink boots, he gets noticed.
Mate, what would it take for you to don those pink boots?
I'm usually a stock standard, but I don't know. Adidas would have to pay me a little bit, I think.
So it's all about the money.
Well, money talks.
I hear you.
Maybe not your style, Mitch, but it's Lauren Borden up here. I know we've mentioned that, you walk into a club on Monday and it feels the same whether it's a win or a loss, but how does it change when you come back here to Cardinia Park on Monday and, you're not coming in after 4 straight losses?
Yeah, we do try that mentality, but it definitely gets a little bit hard, especially for on a try, I tell you. Especially when it's not necessarily the norm. So we just got to keep creating energy. As I said, we're working extremely hard, as other coaches. So it's a bit more process-driven. And come in, don't want to walk around on eggshells, create more anxiety than what the game already brings. So, coaches did a fantastic job, especially over the last couple of weeks. Just simplifying and getting our game, our processes right.
Hey, Mitch, we've got plenty of Cats fans listening tonight. Bruce has texted in to us and he wants to know how Mitch Hardy is tracking, has been playing with your VFL team. He was pretty impressive last week. What are you seeing from him on the training track? Yeah, he's just a ferocious type. He's a mature age player, 26, I think, or maybe not even that old, probably made him a bit older there. But he's just a hard nut around the ball, wins contested footy.
doesn't necessarily have a lot of tricks, but like he wins his fair share. He's great for our younger guys. He's like the dad of their group and makes them work extremely hard and keeps them nice and tough. Always in here doing his extra touch with the boys and driving high standards for them. So he's been great. His opportunity will come at some stage, and he'll be ready to grab it when he gets that chance.
Mitch Duncan with us on ABC Sport. You mentioned Tom Hawkins and his farming earlier. We know Jeremy Cameron's got the farm and he's fishing, and Paddy's into that as well. What keeps you busy away from the footy field, Mitch, apart from your kids?
Yeah, well, 4 kids definitely keeps me busy. I don't have much time. I was talking about a day off. I did a radio interview the other day, and these young guys, they sleep in, go out for brekkie, play a game of golf. I'm up at 6, feeding the kids, getting them ready for school. Then I'm off to, one of the other kids' activities, Little Kickers, down here in Geelong. And then it's just, Kick Academy, not Little Kickers. And, it's always something going on, school pickup, school drop-off. So it keeps me very busy, but I love it. Obviously wouldn't put myself in the position if I didn't love it. But down here at the Cats, we have a great, I was going to say culture, but it's not necessarily that. Great program that allows, a bit of flexibility. I have time to do school drop-off, school pick-up. It helps that it's only 3 minutes away from the footy club, but you're not spending half an hour in the car with traffic and things like that. So that's my time at the minute, kids and my wife.
Oh, good stuff. It's nice to see that all that's going well, and nice to see you get a win tonight. Thanks for sharing some time with us on ABC Sport, Mitch.
Thanks, Tim.
Mitch Duncan there in the Cats rooms with Rory Campbell and us on ABC Sport. 0437 774 7744. Kids! He would be a very, very busy man, Mitch Duncan. Cats winners by 30 tonight, 15-9-99 to Richmond, 10-9-69. 3 goals to Ollie Dempsey. Max Holmes had 29 touches. Jack Bowes had 29 as well. Dempsey 27, Atkins 27. So too Mitch Duncan. Liam Baker ended up with a game-high 31. He got really busy late in the piece. Jaden Short had 22 for the Tigers, and Daniel Rioli had 20 in the end. On 0437 774 774, we'll try to get some reaction from the Richmond rooms as well for our Tigers fans, and we'll play you a grab from Marcus Windhager shortly as well after the Saints beat the Eagles by 14 points earlier today. Hawthorn, the winners in the early game, by 27. Berkey and team. Seems Collingwood have lost a step or two, and Geelong probably 3 or 4. Jury's still out on Essendon and whether they can maintain this to and into finals time. So, who is your top 4 at the moment? Berkey, you first.
Well, Sydney, for me, sit clearly on top. They're just a powerful unit at the moment. But really, it's completely open. It's going to come down to who can get their closest to their best 25 out on the park and who can be playing with the most momentum going into the finals. And whoever can do that, they're absolutely a chance. This is probably one of the most wide open seasons. I'm not fully convinced by Essendon. Port Adelaide don't excite me greatly. The Cats, we've seen them be vulnerable. Who else is up there? The Pies, they need to get some players back.
Giants have been there or thereabouts.
Giants started off like a house in fire, but have shown that they're vulnerable as well. So I really can't pick the 3 that sit. I know I'm sitting on the fence here, but I really can't pick the 3 that sit underneath Sydney, clearly on top.
So the Swans in the field for you, Kez?
I've just scribbled some notes down. So I've taken the question as who's probably from this point going to finish in the top 4 from here moving forward. And I'm not jumping off Collingwood just yet. So I think that with the injuries that they had, the performance against Freo just gone. I'm not reading. Was it Freo that they played?
The Western Bulldogs.
Bulldogs. Sorry, Bulldogs. I'm not reading.
12.
Yeah, that's right. It was Freo the previous week. I'm not reading too much into that, just given who they haven't got on the park at the moment. I think Carlton, clearly, obviously, I'm going to vote for them, but I don't think I'd have too many. Actually, maybe sitting at this desk, I might have some opposition to that, Loz. I might look to you for some support with that. I think that the way that Carlton's playing... The way that Carlton is playing, I think that they've found their mojo back and they're going to be on the rise. Geelong have got a lot of games down here at Kardinia Park towards the back end of the year. So, again, the last month is, I think, an anomaly for them. I can't see them continuing that for the rest of the year. They'll get back on the winners list. I don't think they will beat Swans next week for what it's worth, but I think the back end of the year they'll come home with a wet sail. So for me, the Giants, and then it's a toss-up between Melbourne and Collingwood who take that last spot. So there you go.
At the moment, it's Sydney, Essendon, Geelong, Port Adelaide. Sydney are a game and a half clear. Essendon to play the Suns tomorrow. The Swans, of course, have got the bye this week. Geelong with 8 wins are third. Port with 8 wins are fourth. Carlton with 8 wins in fifth. And then you've got Melbourne with 7 wins who play tomorrow in the Red Centre against Fremantle. They are sixth. Giants, 7 wins, seventh. Collingwood, 7 wins, eighth. Freo with 6 wins and a draw in ninth. The Western Bulldogs and the Gold Coast have got 6 wins. The Bulldogs have played this weekend. They won by 18 points against Collingwood earlier in the weekend. And the Gold Coast play tomorrow. They're undefeated at home so far this season, but Richmond are in red-hot form. Just on Geelong's games to come down here for the rest of the season. So they have Sydney, then the bye, then they they play Carlton at the MCG in that King's Birthday Eve game. Then they go Essendon here, Hawthorn here, away to Collingwood at the MCG. The Western Bulldogs here, they're at North Melbourne, which I assume will be at Docklands. They've got Adelaide here. They've got a trip to Freo. They're away to St Kilda, and then they've got West Coast here. So they leave Victoria once after the bye, which is a pretty cushy run for the Cats in the run home. So that's a pretty nice thing to be looking at if you're Chris Scott and co.
Well, they set themselves up by winning the first 7 of this season. Like, they won some games there, knowing that they had this back end. They put together a season early that allowed them, to have this little hiccup and still be in a really strong position. So there's something to be said for early wins. And, we often hear teams having a bit of or their supporters, not quite happy with the way their team's going. But if they're scrapping wins together, no one cares how you played in round 3 if you're in the market, round 17. And that's what the Cats have been able to do. And yeah, I mean, it's still going to be a real challenge, even despite the form of the last month of the Cats. It's still going to be a huge challenge for all those teams that need to come down the highway and play here late in the season.
And that's why if Dangerfield is ready next week, you give him an extra 2.
Yep.
I reckon. Don't even play him the week after.
Yeah, so, of course, with Geelong, well, they've got...
Bye. See, wait until after that.
There's no way. I cannot see a world where Dangerfield rolls out next week.
Especially with his history. With his history of hamstring injuries.
Well, he re-injured. He came back and then re-injured. So that automatically adds another probably 2 or 3 weeks to what the initial diagnosis was anyway. And given his age and importance to this team, there's that. And I wouldn't be surprised late in the season if they manage him for a couple of games as well. That would be probably, and Cats obviously lead the way and have done that historically. I think that would be a really smart thing to do.
0437 774 774 if you've got a question for our experts, Australian Football Hall of Famer Nathan Burke and Carlton AFLW captain Karen Peterson. We'll head into the Richmond rooms shortly as well to get some reaction with Rory down there. Earlier today, St Kilda had a come-from-behind win over West Coast. One of the big stories out of that was Harley Reid, who will be under the scrutiny of the MRO after a tackle on Darcy Wilson in the late stages of that game. But the Saints pulled one out of the fire to win by 14 points over in the West. And the ABC Sport team caught up with Marcus Windhager after the win.
Well, we're lucky enough to have Marcus Windhager join us after that great win for the Saints. Marcus, talk us through it. It must just be great to get a win, but to fight back like that in the second half after you look like you're down.
Yeah, 100%. I think you just said it there. Like, first half, that just completely wasn't the way we wanted to play footy, and that's sort of been our problem this year. Not playing the way we want to, with a bit of sizzle from the back half. And then literally that's all it took for us, just to take the game on, play our way. It's a lot more exciting. It's a lot more enjoyable. And yeah, as a group, when we play that way, it's rewarding and it's a lot more fun.
And you were part of a big move in the second half when you went to Harley Reid to try and shut him down. It seemed like you managed to get up under his skin, and you certainly did a really good job. You kept him to, I think, 3 disposals in that second half. You must be happy.
Yeah, he's a fantastic player. Speaks volumes in his first year. He's getting work put into him. But yeah, he's a fantastic player, like, so strong. And yeah, he was playing really well in the first half, so we needed to nullify some of his work around stoppage. Yeah, and I just went back to playing my role, whatever's asked of me, and it's rewarding when you get that done.
And it was a pretty heavy tackle he laid on your teammate Darcy Wilson. Were you getting in his ear about that at all?
Nah, not at all. That's part of the game, that happens. I didn't actually, I missed it just at the end, but yeah, I didn't really see it.
Well, congratulations. It was a great win today, and you'll have a happy flight home. I hope everything's on time for you on the way home.
Yeah, thank you very much. Cheers.
So Marcus Windhager after the Saints win over the Eagles earlier today. Of course, the drama at Perth Airport with flights being grounded, no fuel able to being provided to planes. Aussie the Eagle took flight and couldn't be reined in at one stage before the game. Luke Shuey's on the ground trying to evade being swooped by the wedge-tail Eagle. It was all happening over there in the West, and in the end, St Kilda win by 14 points over the West Coast Eagles. So they get 4 wins on the campaign for the Saints. So been a tough run for them, Berkey. It was good to see them return to the winners list today.
Yeah, certainly needed that one. If they had lost this one, well, I think the supporters would have revolted, and they certainly made a hard work of it. It took them till the last quarter to get any sort of lead. Fortunately, Big Max King went off with a crook knee. Not sure the extent of it, but he didn't play the last quarter.
Got subbed out of the game?
Yeah, so he got subbed out of the game. And look, to be honest, the forward line functioned the best that they had for the whole game without him. Mason Wood went forward, and I think he kicked 3 for the game. So that was a really good effort by him. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they fare without him, if they give him a bit of an extended rest to get that knee right.
So the Saints winners in our early game. Richmond go down by 30 points here. Rory Campbell's ventured down into the Tigers' rooms. What's the mood like down there, Rory?
Yeah, look, it's probably not as overjoyous as you might have thought it would be if they got the win, but it's certainly a pretty sort of upbeat mood in here. There's a bunch of players sort of standing around talking with friends and family and loved ones, and all those people who are making their way in and out of the rooms are doing so with a smile on their face, and it's certainly not a downcast mood at all, which is understandable. They put on an incredibly strong performance in this game, right up until the sort of dying stages, and you can sort of see that and feel that in here at the moment. But yeah, I'm sure they would like to leave Cardinia Park with the 4 points, but not to be tonight.
Rory, now, first game for you, first day of a Victorian winter as a West Australian. How did you go boundary side?
Oh, it was a piece of cake. Nothing to worry about at all. I heard all this talk about gloves and waterproof jackets, etc. It rained a little bit, but no, it was. I felt the pinch for sure. It was definitely a little bit brisk, but I found a nice little nook huddled up against the interchange bench wall, and I thought if I can stay here, I'll probably be out of the rain. And I reckon maybe there was a bit of thermal heating coming off the concrete as well.
Very, very nicely done, Rory. Thanks for that. Richmond go down by 30 points tonight, 15-9-99 to 10-9-69. It was that's a bit of a rude welcome down here with the squally showers coming in at Cardinia Park. Big southerly winds in most of Victoria today. It's been a cold day, cold start to winter for most of our state after a very wet last couple of days here in Victoria. A big day of footy tomorrow. Of course, it all starts AFL Sunday with Ben Cameron at 12 o'clock, rolling into Melbourne and Freo in the Red Centre. Gold Coast and Essendon, the late game. We've been to Alice Springs, Berkey. Beautiful part of the world to watch footy.
We have indeed. I'm tipping it's a tad balmier than here.
Just a touch.
But no, it's a wonderful ground there. It's a beautiful backdrop scenery with the, you will know the ranges
The
behind.
McDonnell Ranges.
That's the ones I was thinking of. Yeah, it's a great day. Just the crowd there, and you can just tell that they're really lapping up the one opportunity that they get to see these players live. So I'm really glad that they've managed to keep that tradition going.
So if you're listening to ABC Sport tomorrow, Charlie King will be on the boundary at the game. Paul texted in from Catherine earlier, and again, it's similar to the text we got on having more women in our broadcast boxes, which is a great point. Paul says, I'd like to see more Indigenous people commentating on the footy games. Charlie King is the only one that's around doing it on the ABC. We need to inject some Indigenous people to commentate. And I think that's a point well made, Paul. And, people from all walks of life, that's where we should be getting our talent. So hopefully we see more representation of all communities and genders in our broadcast boxes right throughout our industry. But, looking forward to hearing Charlie King tomorrow from that game in Alice Springs, because he's got such a strong understanding of what footy means to our Indigenous community. And you spent a bit of time with him last week at Dreamtime, Loz, and he lapped that up. He is a real icon of the game.
He is. It's always excellent to see him when he comes down here. A little bit like Rory. I think it's a bit of a shock when he gets down on the boundary when it's a Melbourne winter. But he spoke about the game in Indigenous communities and how it's still the number one game, even though, numbers across the AFL look like they're declining a little bit at the moment. There's still some talent coming up through the ranks. So didn't have an answer on why we might not see as many numbers in the Indigenous game, but said there's still plenty up in the Northern Territory that are running around and have that talent up there.
Absolutely. We got the votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year. Have we sorted that out yet, or do we need a little bit of notice?
No, I don't need any notice because Berkey does this to me all the time. I expect the late handball now from Berkey, so I actually have prepared something. But
see, I've prepared you. That's what good coaches do. They prepare you for whatever's going to come your way, and now you just handle it with aplomb.
Let's run with that, shall we? I've got a couple of apologies to give because normally we race through these two, Berkey, so I don't often get to do some apologies, but I do have some tonight. My first apology goes to Jack Bowes. I thought he was really good through the middle of the game, through the middle of the ground, and when the heat was on as well. He had 29 touches, 14 of those contested, so apologies to Jack. Also apologies to Tom Atkins, 27 touches. The reason he didn't get a vote, he went at 43%, but otherwise he was actually pretty good. He had 10 clearances, he had 15 contested touches and 11 tackles, so he's been a bit stiff to miss out as well. But I've gone one vote to Liam Baker. I couldn't go past someone from Richmond. I thought that they were outstanding in that first quarter and a half, really, and just as we've spoken about, unfortunately weren't able to withstand that level of pressure or sustain that level of pressure, rather. He finished the game with a game-high 31 touches. He had 5 clearances. He had 6 tackles and 13 handball receives. I thought he was really good and really led from the front for Richmond. I've given 2 votes to Max Holmes. He had 29 touches, 5 clearances, 8 inside 50s, and he kicked a goal. He also amassed 633 metres game, which sometimes that stat can be a little bit deceiving because obviously he plays on the wing and he finds himself in space. But what I really liked about his metres gain tonight was that they were in the middle of the ground. He got on the end of some handball receives and used his speed and broke the line off the half-back line, particularly in the third and fourth quarters when Geelong were really starting to gain the dominance around the ground. I thought he was a big driver of that, and he kicked a goal as well. And I couldn't go past Berkey's favourite pink boot player in the AFL in Dempsey. A career-high 3 goals. He had 27 touches, 13 contested possessions, 5 marks, and 8 handball receives. But the reason I've given it to him is because he was the one who lit the flame for Geelong late in that second term. He was the one who kicked 2 goals and really sparked them. And he's just been rewarded, I think, for the consistency that he showed throughout the whole game. He was a real live wire. So 1 vote to Baker, 2 votes to Holmes, and 3 votes to Dempsey. How'd I go, Coach?
Not too bad. None for Zach Tui. He had 9 touches.
No, absolutely not. I didn't hear the Irish jig tonight, so there was no chance he was getting a vote.
Okay, not bad. You can do it again next week.
Not bad. Good stuff. Good stuff. Hey, one thing we haven't had a chance to talk about yet is AFLW fixture. Came out yesterday. So 11 games in 10 weeks. No extension to the season, but 1 more game. The AFL's essentially asking for more work in less time. My read on it is that they are stacking the cards in their own favour. They have metrics in place that, there is a push to expand the season and get more games into this AFLW season, and that involves crowd numbers. Now, if you're playing games at 5 o'clock on a Wednesday and 7 o'clock on a Thursday, you're clearly not going to get the same crowd numbers that you are playing those games in prime time on weekends. So by squeezing the extra games into that public holiday weekend, they'll say, we're providing different opportunities for people to watch the footy. But by sort of transfer of property, I just don't think they're going to get those numbers. They're not going to get... It seems as though they're not quite ready to expand it yet to what people want it to be and maybe what the playing cohort wants it to be. And so they're stacking the deck so they get the hand that they want. Is that a fair read on that, Berkey?
Absolutely, it is. It's a fair read. I did read there was a little clause under one of the fixtures that I did read that said they will take into account the traditional time slots when making decisions about that sort of thing. And they might discount the 7 o'clock on a Tuesday night down in Frankston. But then I guarantee you they'll come out with raw numbers. And they'll say, raw numbers are watching this and raw numbers are attending this. There's no way in a million years that they're going to give us raw numbers and say, we've taken out Frankston and we've taken out, Canberra and we've taken out Mackay, all of those things. They won't do that. Of course they won't. It's exactly, they want it to go that length of time. They want to extend the AFL footprint from end of September to December. So doesn't give all the other sports a look in. Let's expand our AFL footprint, and we'll use the women to do it.
Yep. Kez, what were your thoughts when it landed?
I can see the merit in squeezing and using and utilising the middle sort of the grand final week to turn that into a festival of football. So I can see the merit in doing that. I do, however, believe strongly about what Berkey was just saying, and not at this point not getting a discount in the metrics numbers, which everyone, I suppose, within the industry is a little bit fixated on around, well, how do we get there? And there's growth forums and things going on to try and achieve that. But we're sort of yet to see how that sort of plays out and is executed and how they measure those metrics. So at the moment, yeah, it's a bit wishy-washy to understand, A, where the metrics came from, and B, where they're going to be applied, and C, if there's going to be a discount on some of the games outside those traditional time slots. Because I can't see a world where Wednesday night at either Icon Park or at Whitten or wherever the games are being played, that we're going to get a crowd that reaches the thresholds to enact the triggers in the clauses to grow the game. So, yeah, I mean, my job at the moment is to be focused on what's in front of us. But if you do take a bit of a helicopter view of the whole thing, I think Berkey's on the money.
So it's fast approaching 11 games in the 10 weeks, and they will roll through in the AFLW fixture, and of course we'll have coverage of that here on Grandstand throughout the course of the season as well. The first game, 30th of August, Sydney and Collingwood kicks the season off.
On North Sydney Oval?
Yep.
Which is ridiculously small.
Yep.
The Saints played a game up there in Sydney's first game, I think it was. The centre square is 28 metres by 28 metres.
Yeah, it's a postage.
Surely there is a ground in Sydney which can accommodate this sport that we play.
SCG would be one. Hey, we've only got about 20 seconds. Great fun tonight, Berkey and Kez. Got a good value.
We did get good value. Well done, both teams. Thank you very much. And hopefully everyone else is on the road, driving safely back down the highway and leaving lots of room for us.
Thanks to Loz, thanks to Stu, thanks to Rory, thanks to Mel back in the studio. Cats back on the winners list. They get it done by 30 over the Tigers.
Here's my top footy tip for the season. You can get your games live and ad-free on the ABC Listen app. I know, right? AFL, NRL, men's, women's. Whatever footy you're after, we've got you covered. Every goal, try, mark and tackle. Called by ABC Sports expert commentary team. This season on the home of 100% pure footy. The ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Holmes plays on from the free kick, jabs it into the pocket onto the chest of Close. And Brad Close has marked a pace inside the boundary line, 35 metres out in the left forward pocket. He is a canny operator. He wheels around and from the boundary he shows them all his craft. Cats with the ascendancy at the moment. Close gives to Bowes, edge of the 50 in the boundary, kicks to full forward off Bolter. That's a terrific defensive mark for Richmond. Floating back in front of the pack, an awkward exit though. Close has pinched it, hands it off. Hawkins knows how to finish.
Guthrie's got Dempsey who can mark top of the 50. Exactly what he does, then just goes with a short kick inside 50 to Neil, holds onto the mark and tells his teammates he's going to take the time to kick this one. Shannon Neil to kick from 40 metres out, 45-degree angle. It starts left, but it comes back. That's a goal for Neil. That's his second for the night. Kicks it down towards Pickett, who can run down here if he can pick it up cleanly. Finally picks up the top of the 50, but goes towards Lefau, who takes the mark, left forward pocket. So Lefau, for his second, eases it through the goal.
And Bowes has got Zach Guthrie, who's snuck a long way down the ground. He goes eyes up, looks at the sticks, and exploits them. Zach Guthrie sneaking down for the fourth goal of his season. Goal for goal since at the stoppage. Work inside the forward 50 to Bowes, who attacks it at pace and finishes with a touch of class. And Geelong. One already tonight for Tom Hawkins, kick 2 in his record-breaking 356th game last week. He's on the runway from outside 50. It's a kick to a dangerous position, but won't have the carry. Neil was out, bashed toward the goal line. Dempsey! A poacher's chance as he sockers it off the ground. And Ollie Dempsey's equalled a career best with 3. Ralph Smith sends it long. Ryan the target. Guthrie draped all over him. Free kick. Samson Ryan. The big man will take his kick. Turns 24 on Tuesday. Young, imposing key position prospect. 2 games, hasn't kicked one as yet this season. Can he straighten things up for the Tigers? He can. Samson stands up.
Atkins can pick it up. Geelong going inside 50, kicking towards the Joel Selwood end. Here's Rowan, the sub, hand passes towards Hawkins. He drops it. He'll kick to the top of the 50 to find a mark. Spots up Holmes and hits him on the chest. To start Geelong's second half with intent as they look to wind back this margin. Holmes has got it.
Your week with the ABC AFL Daily Podcast. Join myself, Catherine Murphy, AFL legend Paul Roos and expert panellists every day to get the latest news, game analysis and insights straight from the field.
The way the rules are now, you're not allowed to brace yourself and hit someone in the head in a marking contest.
Tune in to stay ahead of the game and get your daily dose of footy fever. Find the ABC AFL Daily Podcast on the ABC Listen app.
ABC Sport Digital Radio, your home of conversations.
Hello again, Zane Burjack with you for another Conversation Sporting special on Grandstand Digital. Well, today we're going to hear the dulcet tones of Ronald Dale Barassi, one of Australian football's greatest ever ambassadors. The man they call Barras won 6 premierships as a player and 4 as a coach, to put him in the kind of rarefied air few have ever breathed.